Welcome back to the channel. This is Trainee Storm and you are watching first part of What If Kid Naruto hide his Sharingan from everyone. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to this channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
You don't see things that astonish you very often. Believe me, when I found out I had a Kekkei Genkei, I was astonished. Although it wasn't the same as the Hyuga, Byakugan, it was still something. The ninjas would erupt if it were revealed that I, the demon child, who was rejected by everyone in Konoha, had one of the most well-known Kekkei Genkeis there. That would be an understatement, to be sure. It was forbidden love, I guess. Love, I wish I could feel what it's like to have a mother or family embrace me after I get a scratch on my knee. Then smile, wipe it off with a moist tissue, give it a gentle kiss, and apply a bandage. A tough but firm father who taught me to hear a mother's sweet giggle and his wild morning laughter. Before I snuck up and stole it, they would yell at me and then we would all start laughing as they flirted over who would get the last batch of buns. But all of that is a dream. I am who I am. I am cursed with the inability to change who I want to be. More like two curses, given my Kekkei Genkei. The elder generation was aware of one curse. However, two people were aware of my second curse. Hitaki Kakashi, the last surviving student of my father, and the Sandaime of Konoha. Even though I didn't express it, I had a lot of respect for the Sandaime, who was known by my cerulean eyes as the Professor. He would occasionally laugh at my antics and weep with me when I was taken in after being assaulted. My lifeline was him. He was my grandfather, and he was the one I genuinely treasured most in my life. For the first 6 years of my life, it was essentially hell. I endured abuse at the orphanage until I was 5.5 years old, at which point I was expelled. I requested an apartment from the third as well as educational scrolls. I stopped shouting about my desire to become Hokage and instead concentrated on my training. I said I would join the academy at 8 and complete the 4 years without failing a year, even though he offered to let me start at 6. He grinned at my self-assurance. Knowing I had witnessed things beyond my 10 years, he told me about my past when I was 10. I handled it pretty well. I only cried and screamed a little and had a little tantrum. I also attempted to make the old man submit. I nearly got him too, but Kakashi intervened. I received guidance and instruction from Hitaki Kakashi regarding my Kekkei Genkei. Because he was so close to my father, he was like an uncle. He would ruffle my hair affectionately and smile when he came to see me. He was a good man in an evil world, so I didn't mind. I first learned about the Uchiha massacre and how Uchiha Sasuke was dubbed the last Uchiha when I was 7 years old. After destroying the clan in a single night, Uchiha Itachi left Sasuke to become what he called an avenger. When you see me, it's strange. I resemble Yondaime in some ways. I inherited some traits from my mother, but I also took after my father. One of my father's closest friends was the Kyubi that was trapped inside of me. He claims that Orochimaru made Kyubi attack the village by subduing him with a powerful genjutsu. What remained of the Kazama clan was destroyed in that attack. Many of them were Anbu and lost their lives fending off the Kyubi in the first 20 minutes. With the exception of Kakashi Sensei and the Sandaime, they abandoned me in the world. The most fascinating thing was learning about my blood limit. Sometime after the Uchiha massacre, when I was 7 years old, I was trying to stay out of trouble with the vile villagers who enjoyed mocking and hating me. I remember running away from some irate villagers. While I was curled into a defensive ball, they kicked, punched, and threw bottles at me. However, for no apparent reason, the world had become clearer by that point. A dog-masked Anbu member rescued me from those vile villagers, who were then imprisoned after I had unlocked my Kekkei Genkei and the Sharingan. My incomplete Sharingan was the only thing that shocked him about me right now. I was taken to the Hokage by him. Sandaime described my predicament there. Kakashi was understanding, and I had a ninja arts tutor ever since. To his amazement, he unleashed the genius that had been suppressed within me by teaching me how to use my Sharingan. I could pick up a chunin level Kaiden Jutsu in an hour, which is an incredible rate of learning. It was a record. In private, he would call me Little Prodigy and Fourth S Legacy. I didn't fully comprehend him until I was 10 years old. A member of the Uchiha clan rarely marries someone from outside the clan. In fact, it was illegal. Nevertheless, my mother did it. She knew that I would have the Sharingan because she loved my father, but she wasn't scared. Even though she only held me for 5 minutes while she lay dying, those 5 minutes were the happiest of her life, and I was her big boy. The majority of my life was a living hell, but Kakashi and Sandaime made it all worthwhile. I occasionally talk to her and my father when no one else is around, and I've recently been beaten by the villagers, who called me the typical demon brat or monster. I started training at the age of 6.5. I had terrible chakra control. It's interesting to note that I became proficient at water walking in a week and tree climbing in 3 days. Kakashi Sensei was undoubtedly taken aback. My mother's brilliance and my father's strength and determination were passed down to me. In addition to being a certified genius in ninja arts and techniques, I also had an IQ of at least 180. My cause benefited from that. I achieved a record of all 3 orbs of Sharingan by the age of 11. I had high chunin chakra control, if not beginning to surpass Anbu level. With the assistance of Kakashi, his strange friend Guy, and Sandame, I was able to completely customize my taijutsu, which was also off the charts. Sandame recommended that I give it a name, but I was still researching potential names. It required a lot of reflexes and footwork. Weights were required from a young age because speed was also essential. Sandame demonstrated his professor abilities by giving me a vest, 2 braces, and 2 legs that all carried the gravity seal. Without my weights, I was moving at a crazy pace. At the moment, the seal was at x8. Despite my strength, I couldn't compete with the majority of elite junins. I had excellent ninjutsu thanks to Kakashi's instruction in specialized jutsu and the scrolls my father gave me for my birthday. The best gift I ever got was when I was 11 years old. I was given a case by Sandame Hokage and Kakashi Sensei. There was a katana inside. It had a shiny blade and a soft black, dyed leather grip. That weapon, which is concealed behind my cloak, is something I treasured. Being unable to come up with names was one thing, but inheriting from my parents was quite another. When I was born, Sandame told me how they had a hard time coming up with a name for me and ultimately decided on Naruto. We played shogi and laughed about that. Bring it on, I muttered, son of a, while he pounded the alarm clock. Bloody thing, for Kami's sake, I broke the damn thing again. Before tossing the alarm clock onto the stack of damaged alarm clocks, he looked at the time. He hated those things, God. He muttered drowsily, 9:19. As I walked around the house, he muttered again, Genin. Test at 9:30. God damn it, Naruto shouted. After hurriedly putting on his black boots, long dark Anbu pants, and a vest with many pockets, Naruto put on a cloak with his katana strapped to his back and the cloak facing upward. The cloak had intricate red patterns on the back that, if they were clouds, would have given the impression that he was with Akatsuki. Finally, he put on a mask that was inspired by Kakashi Sensei, and he rubbed his sore knee. Naruto cursed as he dashed down the path to the classroom. Damn it, can't be late. He thought irritably, damn Kakashi Sensei for not teaching me that leaf whirling thing. Kyubi laughed in his head. Oh, are you still alive inside? Questioned Naruto. Kid, you're still the same. How's your knee? Kyubi asked, then burst out laughing. Shut up, was Naruto's reply. Iruka approached the door slowly and was about to shut it when a certain blonde knocked him down. Naruto, he shouted. Naruto scratched his head and then lowered his arm, saying, Gomen Iruka, sensei. Iruka grabbed Naruto's arm and he pulled him up. To her surprise, Naruto sat down next to her after spotting a seat close to a certain dark-haired kunoichi. Naruto smiled softly and said, Hey Hinata. Ainoake. K. Onichiwa Naruto.kun, she stumbled over. After giving her a gentle smile, Naruto turned to face Iruka. Sensei, his thoughts straying to a planned event. Rewind. Are you certain you can defeat Naruto? Sandame inquired. It would be easy, no doubt about it, old man. Who hasn't realized Mizuki is a traitor, after all? Naruto asked. Iruka grinned at the boy and laughed. Believe me, old man, it will be easy, Naruto asserted. Sandame laughed and said, Don't flatter yourself, it's a piece of cake. The flashback has ended. According to Iruka, Uzumaki Naruto. After giving Hinata a smile and wishing me luck, I descended the stairs. Iruka said, Now, Naruto, do a henge for us. Henge, shouted Naruto, transforming into a shady Sandame Hokage. You fail. Iruka shouted. After lowering his shoulders, Naruto left through the door. Hinata, who had been friends with Naruto for some time, remembered their first encounter and felt sorry for the boy after seeing his dejected expression. Rewind by a tree, she was sobbing when a blonde came up to her. Hey, what's causing your tears? The blonde inquired. Hinata sobbed, My father doesn't think I'm strong enough. Naruto gave her a gentle back pat. Naruto whispered, hey, it's okay, just be strong and do your best. Hinata said, Arigato, Naruto, Uzumaki Naruto. Yuga Hinata. Naruto grinned and said, Hinata, don't let your attractive appearance bring you down, I'm sure you'll be strong. Since then, they had been close friends, and Hinata flushed with shame. The flashback has ended. Iruka shouted, that's it for today class dismissed. After cheering, the students waltzed out the door. Silently swinging on the swing, Naruto was doing his part flawlessly. Don't be so hard on yourself, there still is a way to graduate, said Mizuki. How? Inquired Naruto. Naruto grinned and nodded as Mizuki explained what he needed to do. Later that evening Naruto ran through the forest with the forbidden scroll on his back, paused, and glanced at it before pulling out another one and using a jutsu to transfer all of its contents to it using multiple seals. He then proceeded to learn Kage Bushin no Jutsu. After they caught the traitor Mizuki that night, Iruka passed Naruto, and Naruto walked home with a hite on his head and a full stomach of ramen. Later, Iruka caught him practicing, and they lived up to their promises. Sandaime sat by a table with names on it, and some Junin instructors were gathered around, ready to share their opinions. As he shuffled the names, a certain Hitaki Kakashi grinned at his group. Kakashi thought, I definitely have an interesting team. To the surprise of many and the delight of one Kunoichi, Naruto walked into the classroom, looked up at her, grinned, and took a seat beside her. The words, why? You past N Naruto. Came out softly. Naruto grinned as he glanced at her. He said, hi. Team 7, Hyuga Hinata Haruno Sakura and A. Uzumaki Naruto, replied Iruka. Your sensei will be Hitaki Kakashi. Hinata blushed slightly as Naruto and Hinata exchanged a gentle smile. With a small smirk, Sasuke thought, thank Kami, I'm not with Sakura. As soon as Sakura heard that her name wasn't with Sasuke, she yelled at Hinata, who gave her a wide-eyed look before Naruto surprised her by standing up for her. Sakura, you're without your incredibly valuable Sasuke-kun. Good luck. Naruto, enraged by her indignation, yelled at her, don't blame Hinata for it, blame yourself. She went red in the face and screamed, damn it, I'll kill you Naruto. As a devoted student of Kakashi and his eccentric demeanor, Naruto chose to pull out his book. With an innocent look on his face, Naruto said, Hoo-ha, you say something Sakura? Sakura became even more enraged by this and sat down next to Sasuke again with HMPH. Iruka went on, Team 8. Aburame Shino, Inuzuka Kiba, and Uchiha Sasuke. Your sensei will be Yuhi Kurenai. Team 10, Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, Shoji Akamichi, stated Iruka. Your sensei is Sarutobi Asuma. Soon after, students were picked up by a variety of senseis. Naruto explained that, Kakashi sensei is bound to be late, before he attached himself to the ceiling for a chakra control exercise. The exercise was made much more difficult by the fact that he was holding a book on his head. Hinata exclaimed, Naruto-kun, that's incredible. Come join me Hinata, it's just like tree walking, except different, replied Naruto. Ascending the wall, Hinata stumbled up beside Naruto. Is it safe? Hinata asked uneasily. Naruto answered, don't worry, it'll be fine. Sakura sulked and humphed because she wasn't with Sasuke. After an hour or so, Kakashi entered. Naruto remarked, Kakashi sensei, impressive, only an hour. Kakashi remarked, my first impression of you is interesting. Hinata eeped and lost focus, collapsing to the ground headfirst. Being a man of action, Naruto quickly responded by snagging her by the waist. After supporting her, he leapt from the roof and landed gently with Hinata securely in his arms, sticking chakra to his feet. Grinning, he gently dropped her to her feet. At this point, Hinata slowly retreated, flushed, and pressed her index fingers together. No N. Naruto-kun, arigato, she stammered, cherry red. Yada, Hinata thought. I didn't faint. Impressive, was Kakashi's response. From behind his mask, Naruto grinned. With a poof, Kakashi said, okay, Team 7, meet me on the roof in 2 minutes. It took them around 1.5 minutes to get there. Kakashi said, all right, let's introduce ourselves. Sensei, shouldn't you go first? You're the stranger after all. said Sakura. Very well, I am Hitaki Kakashi. I have few likes and even fewer dislikes, and my future dreams are none of your business. This caused Hinata and Sakura to perspire. Okay, Pinky, you first. I'm Sakura. I like Sasuke.kun. I hate Naruto and Ino.pig. My dream is to blush. Kakashi started to perspire. A fangirl, he believed. Hyuga, was Kakashi's answer. She looked at Naruto and blushed a little as she said, Eh. Anoa I'm Hyuga H. Hinata. I like Naruto. Kun and pressing flowers. I dislike a people who judge people wrongly and Anoa my dream is too. Kakashi gave a quiet smile. You're a ladies' man, aren't you, Naruto? Okay Blondie, you're up. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. I like Hinata. Chan and ramen. I hate people who would kill simply for money and power. My dream is to make my father proud. At this remark, Kakashi arched an eyebrow. His dad, huh? Fascinating. Before anyone could respond, Kakashi poofed off, saying, Okay, tomorrow meet at Training Field 7 for a survival test at 7 a.m. Don't eat breakfast unless you like puking. Naruto suggested, eat breakfast and go there at 8:30, not 7. The Kunoichi gave a nod. Hinata, Chan, Sakura, would you both like to join me for some ramen? Get to know each other better for the teamwork and all that, said Naruto. The words, H.N, Naruto.kun, were stuttering. Sakura shrugged and remarked, I suppose so, why not? You don't get to train a prodigy every day, or to be given the opportunity to train two simultaneously aside from the fact that the council was unaware that there were two. The Uchiha was clearly the first, and the other was training away without them realizing his strength or desire to get stronger. Although Kakashi was aware of both boys' potential, he was also aware that Naruto would ultimately defeat Sasuke with ease if they were matched. If it weren't for his innate ability to forgive and never harbor resentment, it would have been his unwavering determination to realize his dreams. If Naruto played his cards correctly, he would one day become a great shinobi, especially given his determination to get stronger in order to defend his beloved people. However, telling Konoha that Naruto possessed the Sharingan was the issue. People would react differently to Naruto's Sharingan. Demon Brat was bad, and they had two Sharingan users, so that was good. 3, if you include me. Kakashi would frequently wonder how Naruto would tell everyone that he possessed the Sharingan and, more crucially, how the council would respond. When they proposed that he train Uchiha Sasuke, they responded quite differently, and Kakashi declined. Since the Uchiha massacre, Uchiha Sasuke had turned into a spoiled, snobbish brat. He was nearly the complete opposite of Naruto. Naruto endured countless beatings, humiliations at every turn, and hateful glares as he went through hell and back. Despite having a difficult upbringing, Naruto made an effort to pursue his beliefs. To take on the role of Hokage and defend the village and his valued citizens. The Uchiha simply reveled in the desire to murder his older brother and was filled with thoughts of retaliation and hatred. Getting upset when he is outshone, as Naruto did when he defeated him in a spar. At that moment, Kakashi grinned. Being around Kakashi a lot caused Naruto to pick up some of his habits. No, he didn't turn into a pervert to Kakashi's chagrin, but his eccentric Kakashi lines and tardiness would make people laugh. In addition, he adopted Kakashi's reading habits, though not his passion for Icha literature. Rewind Kakashi watched curiously. Naruto was beginning to prevail. He saw him kick Sasuke hard in the stomach after flipping him over his shoulder. Naruto grinned while glancing at Sasuke. Furious, Sasuke charged once more and punched. Naruto shifted slightly to the right of the blow, then grabbed Sasuke's wrist and threw him away by using his weight. Sasuke hit the ground with a loud smack. Kakashi grinned, knowing that Naruto's unique taijutsu style would give Sasuke no chance. The intriguing thing, though, is that Naruto was improvising on the spot and partially basing his moves on his own taijutsu rather than employing his taijutsu technique. Kakashi gave Naruto a sly smile. The moment Sasuke selected Naruto as an opponent, the battle was over. They misjudged him severely. Rising, Sasuke charged once more. He struck Naruto with a punch. Naruto casually avoided it before striking Sasuke in the face. Sasuke threw himself back a little and collapsed to the ground, gritting his teeth. In an instant, Naruto was beside him, a kunai at his throat. As Naruto said, "Surrender, HN," Sasuke said, gripping his jaw painfully. Iruka exclaimed, "Winner, Uzumaki Naruto." The class was taken aback. The elite Uchiha had been defeated by Naruto, the prodigy from Uchiha. This isn't possible, Ino said. Naruto cheated. I saw him cheat. What did you do to him, Naruto Yubaka? Said Sakura. I swear I heard a lot of hot air pass here. Never mind, my mistake, replied Naruto. Sakura screamed, I'll kill you, Naruto, for hurting sake, kun. Sakura received a raised eyebrow from Naruto, who then reached into the back of his pouch. Everyone tensed, wondering what Sakura's outbreak would do to her. A small book that he could hold in one hand was brought out by him. Naruto asked, what? Making Kakashi and everyone else take the blame. Oi Dobi. When Sasuke stood up, how did you get so strong? Naruto knew he wasn't one, so he didn't respond. Dobi. Was Sasuke's cry. Despite knowing he wasn't one, Naruto chose not to respond. Sasuke screamed, I swear, if you don't respond, I'll kick your ass. Once more, Naruto remained silent, understanding that he was not a Dobi. Sasuke screamed, Naruto, listen to me when I talk. I am a Uchiha. Naruto looked at him doubtfully and said, huh, you say something? Only after hearing his name. Everyone made a face fail at this point. Everyone stared at Kakashi as he snickered in the silence. Kakashi questioned, what? Was I the only one who found that amusing? Everyone face-faulted once more at this point. Sasuke approached Naruto in a rage. Sasuke growled, you will wish you were never born if you ever ignore me again. Can't handle the competition, huh? Replied Naruto. Oh well, what is my business to comment whether the Uchiha can handle the heat? But aren't Uchihas the masters of Kaden Jutsu? Maybe I'm wrong. Naruto's face was in close proximity to Sasuke. The words, damn it I will kick your ass, were uttered by Sasuke. Naruto flicked a page and said, and I will kick your ass. Oh wait, already did, sorry. Sasuke struck Naruto with a punch. A log took Naruto's place after he poofed. On the log, Sasuke ripped out his frustration. He punched and kicked at the helpless log. Naruto stood next to Sasuke and said, now Sasuke, what did the log ever do to you? Fight me. Sasuke screamed. Maybe I just get some friggin' breath. Mints. What do you eat for breakfast? Onions and baked beans. Your breath reeks, replied Naruto. At last, Sasuke relaxed and returned to his cool guy demeanor. Then he snorted. I was holding back, he said as he left. Sakura exclaimed, oh Sasuke. Kun, you are so cool, Ino joined her. As was I, Naruto answered. Naruto.kun, you really are incredible, Hinata thought. Sasuke continued to walk despite his raging rage. Naruto said, oh Sasuke, enjoy the fangirls, and then he walked away. Then, as his hordes of fangirls pursued him, Sasuke fled for his life. The flashback has ended. A few years ago, the council was taken aback when he refused to train Uchiha Sasuke. After that, they ranted and raved. Kakashi merely arched an eyebrow and uttered a clever phrase. The council was furious that Kakashi was training someone besides Sasuke. What? They asked. Rewind, an elderly geezer remarked, Kakashi, this is an outrage. Another person questioned, you refuse to train the Uchiha prodigy? Kakashi uttered the words, it's not in my position to comment, and it's not personal reasons, while idly flipping through a page of his favorite Icha. An elderly woman yelled, Kakashi, you will be punished for treason if you do not train the Uchiha. Treason? For what? Not training some stuck-up ass who has the Sharingan. He may have the Sharingan, but I prefer to train people who work hard and for a cause. As far as I know, Sasuke has a 3-foot kunai shoved perpendicularly up his ass. Thank you, Naruto, Kakashi thought. Kakashi, I know the council refuses to hear your blasphemy. I hereby sentence you to torture with Ibiki Morino until you agree to train the Uchiha, and teach him everything, stated the head of the council. With a strong voice, Sandaime Hokage declared, I overrule that decision. The head asked, don't you see that he refuses to train the Uchiha? He may be a Uchiha, doesn't mean he gets special treatment. As far as I'm concerned, all shinobi are special in my sight. Down to the last genin, stated Sandaime. The head stood up and yelled, this is an outrage. Sandaime urged Mitokado Homura to maintain his composure. I will not tolerate Kakashi not training the Uchiha. He's one of our last hopes, said Mitokado. At this point, the Hokage was surrounded by ready.to.use hidden Anbu. An Anbu wearing a rat mask said, stand down, please, Mitokado. Sama. Mitokado took a humph seat. We have many prodigies in our midst. Hyugas have Neji. Uchiha has Sasuke, so why should the Uchiha have any special treatment? Kakashi was obviously confused. Hyuga Heishi, pleased that Neji was brought up, remarked, he has a point. We are discussing the final Uchiha here, Mitokado objected. Kakashi questioned, last Uchiha, are you sure? One of the council members exclaimed, the hell Kakashi? Whoa, I need an excuse, Kakashi thought. Kakashi questioned, don't you remember Uchiha Itachi? An elderly council member said, don't bring up his cursed name here. The point I'm trying to prove here is that Sasuke isn't the last Uchiha. And simply giving him special treatment because apparently he is the last Uchiha is full of crap, replied Kakashi. The more prodigies we have, the better, although giving special treatment to one, I don't accept. Mitokado protested, this is not special treatment. Is it your intention to make me train the last Uchiha? Kakashi asked. Another member remarked, Kakashi, that isn't special treatment. Well, not given special consideration. When Sasuke receives his Sharingan, I'm the only other user left, so it's useless for you to threaten me. Kakashi turned to another page of his book and declared, I won't train Sasuke unless I see reason to. You should be training Uchiha, not Kakashi. I won't back down from my claims. Who in Kami's name are you training Kakashi? Mitokado questioned. Naruto. Made Kakashi shiver. Mitokado cried, Naruto? That demon brat? Mitokado, that was your last warning. You are be arrested for high treason against Konoha. Anbu, take him away and let Morino take care of him, said Sandaime with rage. Morino Ibiki sneezed somewhere. One thing is implied by that. Interrogation. Morino thought as he held his teddy bear, which he was using to practice torture. The Anbu approached Mitokado with a bow. The Anbu said, please come with us calmly Mitokado. Sama, and they led him off. Listen to me all of you. If I find any of you do anything to harm the boy, I will see to it personally himself. He is also not a demon, but rather the person who holds the demon. You may all think Naruto is the Kyubi, but remember his sacrifice to keep us all safe. I won't have you talk down on the boy. I won't have this boy beaten by your clan members, if you do they will be made an example of, stated Sandaime. Why go to such great lengths to protect the carrier of the Kyubi? Replied Heishi. Arashi picked him to carry the burden, and we can kill the Kyubi while the boy is weak. Oh, don't worry then, after all it was the fourth's choice to seal the Kyubi into Naruto. It's not his fault that we must sacrifice him to kill the Kyubi, replied Sandaime. Heishi remarked, exactly, you see from my point of view. I mean it's no deal right. After all, why would Arashi go to such great lengths to protect his only son? Replied Sandaime. The council members gave him a startled look. The word spreads out, I'll charge all of you for treason. You even threatened to touch one hair on the boy, I'll make sure you wish you weren't ever born, stated Sandaime. Hi. The council said, still in disbelief. Sandaime said, Kakashi, you can keep training Naruto. Also Hokage. Sama, when Naruto graduates, I would like to retire as Anbu and become his Chunin instructor, with me picking his team, replied Kakashi. Sandaime declared, this meeting is adjourned. That's fine with me. The flashback has ended. That's all for Naruto. Even though the poor boy had endured a lot, he still possessed a great deal of talent and skill. He already possessed the skills of at least a Chunin and the chakra control of a high Anbu, making him an excellent shinobi. His life was primarily impacted by his desire to protect his precious people. He didn't have many precious people, but he gave them his word that he would sacrifice himself for them. This reminded Kakashi of his friend Obito, the same buddy who sacrificed himself to save him. Standing over the memorial stone in the drizzle of rain, Kakashi grinned. Obito Uchiha, an enduring reminder of Kakashi's actions for all time. It wasn't because Kakashi was superstitious that he would occasionally come here and speak with Obito. Instead, it was to honor the man he referred to as his brother. In honor of his brother, Kakashi would always flash his Sharingan eye when he was near the memorial stone. Kakashi grinned as he considered Naruto, who would eventually become a great leader thanks to the same ideals. Hokage, perhaps. He would spend a lot of time thinking here. He occasionally saw him there as well. After that, he would stroll over to his father's grave and speak with him. After that, he would go see his mother and speak with her as well. He seemed to be aware that they were listening. He would occasionally spend hours outside simply staring and chatting with his parents about nothing. Kakashi would grin at the boy's simplicity. Kakashi's favorite place to reflect was the memorial stone. There, he could think about significant choices and problems, consider what he had done, and feel all of his dreams and failures rest. Kakashi was neither a prophet nor a saint. However, he had a genuine side and, although most people didn't know it, he enjoyed the small things in life. Having a nice cup of hot coffee when he woke up was something he had to do. Regrettably. His beautiful collection of perverted books, Icha Icha Paradise. At times, Kakashi longed for a family, which the boy Naruto provided. Rewind knock, 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 hello, anyone home? A tiny voice said. With a sigh, Kakashi put away his favorite Icha Icha Paradise book and made his way to the door. He opened it to find Naruto holding a bundle of his belongings, bloody and bruised. Again, he said piteously. The boy, Hi Kakashi, sensei, said. Kakashi shoved Naruto in the direction of the restroom and said, come on, let's get you cleaned up. Sometimes, when he heard Naruto singing softly in the shower, Kakashi would chuckle and smile. To him, Naruto was like a nephew. Naruto looked up to Arashi, and Arashi looked up to him. Kakashi grinned and thought, oh, how the tables have turned, Arashi, sensei. In reality, very few people have had the opportunity to see Kakashi's face. Naruto was among the few who had seen his face, thanks to his cooking. When he saw Naruto's wide open mouth and one of his mouth-watering rice balls drop from his chopsticks, he grinned. Recalling how he had asked Naruto if he wanted the rice ball, Kakashi laughed. On occasion, Naruto would pay his uncle Kakashi a visit. It was one of the easy things Kakashi enjoyed doing. Gently reprimand the young boy for attempting to use a kunai to subdue him after he had finished showering before tucking him into bed. He used to run around claiming that he didn't want to go to bed. The times Kakashi spent with Naruto would make him smile. Naruto would frequently arrive battered and bruised, worn out from escaping the villagers and suffering injuries. Kakashi would express his feelings by giving the little man a hug and wiping away his tears. Naruto represented Kakashi's second opportunity at life. He also reluctantly acknowledged that he liked the little guy. He was most likely one of his 3 cherished surviving relatives. And to see him through to the end, he would die. When Kakashi saw Naruto emerge from his shower and inquire as to whether Kakashi was hungry, he grinned. Kakashi laughed alongside Naruto and remarked, when you're around, I'm always hungry. The flashback has ended. Recalling that flashback, Kakashi grinned. He had a lot of memories of Naruto, both positive and negative. However, pleasant memories persisted. He chuckled quietly as he recalled how Naruto used his chakra to climb the tree at last, only to transform into a red lobster while walking on the hot springs. However, he would keep pulling himself together and try again. It was a mistake when Kakashi instructed Naruto to train with his shadow clones. He'd call in 200 people, 50 for taijutsu, 40 for ninjutsu, 50 for studying, and 60 for genjutsu. He would soon surpass himself, Kakashi knew. He was a child genius, but even he wasn't that strong at that age. He recalled how, at the age of 7.5, he had unlocked Naruto's genius. Rewind, Kakashi said sharply, again Naruto, as he watched Naruto slowly rise. He was battered and bruised all over. Naruto hurled himself at Kakashi once more and yelled, Kuso, I'll beat you Kakashi, sensei. With a sigh, Kakashi punched the boy in the face and easily blocked his blow. He heard a poof, and to his surprise, it turned to smoke. A shadow clone. Kakashi thought. He turned to see Naruto kick and swing his leg. He blocked it and gave the boy a gut thrust, but he turned into a log. Yet again. I was surprised, Kakashi thought. He turned to see Naruto running alongside him. Kakashi backhanded the boy after deflecting the lazy kick. Kakashi thought, not another clone. Just before he felt a kick to his back, he spun around and saw Naruto running toward him. He heard a muffle beneath the ground and prepared himself. Crap, Kakashi thought. Doden. Inner decapitation technique, earth release. Shinha, Zanshu no Jutsu. After letting his triumph sink in, Naruto grinned at Kakashi's head protruding above the ground and said, and you said a ninja wasn't supposed to let down his guard Kakashi. Sensei. Naruto then assisted Kakashi. Kakashi questioned, it was a well-executed plan, how? I don't know, I guess it came naturally? Naruto said, I really don't know how to explain it. Interesting, Kakashi remarked. Oh, Naruto, nice second tomo. Naruto grinned and said, Yada, only one left, second tomo. The flashback has ended. Kakashi grinned and remarked, my, how my students are growing up. Something caught Kakashi's attention as he turned to leave. He saw the red pattern in the cloak. He considered Naruto, but ultimately chose to follow the boy. Naruto placed sunflowers on his father's grave and said, "You know Atusan, you should have killed Jiraiya when you were younger." Turned Kakashi Sensei into a pervert. "I'm doing my best to make you proud, and I hope I do. It gets so hard sometimes, but I know what doesn't kill me makes me stronger." Finally, Naruto said, "And don't worry, I'll take care of Kakashi Sensei for you Atusan," before turning to leave. Kakashi trailed after the boy. Naruto placed red roses on Okasan's grave and said, "Hey Okasan, I hope you're doing well up there and not bothering Atusan too much. I'm hoping I make you proud Okasan, I know I'm trying my best, which I know it is all you can ask. Hope it's fine up there, don't let Atusan eat too much ramen or he'll get too fat like poor old Sandame Hokage," laughed Naruto. "How I inherited your Sharingan Okasan, I still wonder to this day, but I know it was your final gift to me, and I'm grateful for it," said Naruto. "I copied Kakashi's Chidori yesterday, and all of his Suiden Jutsu when he was training, so I would say it is a gift," said Naruto. "Did you steal my Chidori?" From his treetop vantage point, Kakashi thought, "That baka. It's funny, I believe he needs your advice on love, although he refuses to acknowledge it, it appears that he is in love with a Yuhi Kurenai. Perhaps you ought to come down and give him a reality check." Kakashi was shocked and thought, "Yuhi Kurenai? How the hell does he know? I have more training to do, so I have to leave now." With a flick of his wrist, Naruto vanished, saying, "See you both later." Shushin. Kakashi pondered for a moment before vanishing in a puff, bringing an end to his thought process. "Kakashi, my enduring adversary, in order to demonstrate my flames of youth, I challenge you," Guy shouted. "You say something, huh?" Kakashi inquired. Guy yelled, "Damn you, Kakashi, and your hipness," and hurried away. "Hey you," Kurenai said as she approached. "Hey yourself," was Kakashi's response. Naruto suddenly appeared and said, "Kakashi Sensei, stop putting things off and go spend some time with your girlfriend. Your love life comes before my training." Naruto walked toward him and said, "You need a break anyhow, trust me, I won't miss anything." Kurenai, who had controlled her blush at being Kakashi's girlfriend, looked at each other strangely, then at Naruto, and then shrugged as he slipped some notes into one of Kakashi's many breast pockets, patted it, and left. Naruto waved as he walked, saying, "Oh, don't spend it all at once," and Kurenai, "Sensei, make sure you kill him if he buys any more Icha books." "You want to see a movie, then?" Kakashi inquired. Kurenai said, sure, Hinata Hyuga. I'm a weak heir and not much of a person, but I keep trying because of one blonde-haired ninja. I'm a Hyuga, and I was drowning in my sorrow until my crush, Uzumaki Naruto, pulled me out." According to Kakashi, he used to be the #1 loudest, unpredictable, hyperactive knuckleheaded ninja, but he has since transformed into a genius and a prodigy who would fight for what he believed in and defend his precious people to the death. I think this is where he gets his true strength. I think he has influenced me in many ways. I still blush a lot around him, and I steal glances when he doesn't notice. I think he caught me staring once, and I would stare at my knees, blushing. I would sometimes trip in front of him, expecting to fall hard, but he would always catch me. My only a Naruto-kun. Perhaps I should trip over more often, to feel his strong arms catch me. He would then look at me with those brilliant cerulean eyes, hypnotizing me with their depth and warmth, and then he would give me a gentle, sincere smile. Then he would tell us to stop flirting, and he would put me on my feet, both of us blushing deeply. I no longer drowned in my sorrows because of Naruto's influence. Instead, he would jump into the water and save me. I would go under, and he would dive down too, to bring me back to the light. I wonder if he likes me back. I hope so. Ever since I was placed on Naruto's team, my father has been acting strangely, telling me to get closer to Naruto. I'm not sure why, perhaps it's the positive influence he has on me, or maybe it's something else entirely. My father is a proud but strong man. He despises weakness, but I am getting rid of this aspect. I was shocked when he said he was proud of me, after I had defeated Hanabi for the first time. Hanabi was also shocked, but she walked off snorting that it was a fluke. When I told Naruto what I had done later that night, he grinned and gave me a hug, and I, in turn, fainted. Later, when I woke up in his apartment, he took me out to ramen, and we returned to his place after we finished the meal, and I gave him some cooking advice. I was more outgoing around him. I suppose he is truly influencing me. I think it's a good thing. I feel stronger and less shy, though I'm still taken to a bumbling kunoichi if I see him. I suppose nothing changes. I will not let myself, my family, or you down, Naruto-kun. I will always be there for you, and I will wipe away your tears just as you did when I did. Rewind. As I sat there in the rain, crying uncontrollably, I heard footsteps behind me and noticed a warm orange jacket with a faint scent of ramen and Naruto on it. I looked up to see Naruto kneeling next to me, looking at me sadly and putting an arm around me. I sobbed into his chest, feeling the pain and frustration of 12 years take its toll on me, and he reassured me that everything would be okay. He wiped the tears from my eyes and said that pre-kunoichis shouldn't cry. I blushed after hearing that, and he led me to his cozy apartment, where he gave me warm clothes and pushed me into the shower. He was a gentleman and walked me home, telling me that I could always turn to him if I ever needed assistance or someone to talk to. He was my lifeline, my everything, my Naruto-kun. The flashback has ended. I see the will to show the villagers how valuable you are. I smiled at him, and he smiled back. Perhaps things do change for the better. Sakura Haruno. I am Haruno Sakura, also known as the forehead girl. Although things and people change, my forehead stays the same. I adore Sasuke-kun, and I get mad at Naruto when he upstarts him. I'm not sure why I do this. To win Sasuke's approval. I still wonder about these things, but life is a mystery, and having a huge forehead helps with the brain power, Naruto claims. Naruto may be dense at times, but behind his mask and cerulean eyes, I know there's more to him than meets the eye. He may keep things from us, but it's for the best. Everyone has the right to their secrets, including Naruto. Oddly enough, I would trust Naruto with my life. Although we aren't officially a team, I could see in Kakashi Sensei's eyes the pride of all three of us working together, supporting one another. This is what a team is. Friends and family. Naruto used to be the dobi, the loser, but I can tell that he has changed, and I will change too. He would smile and help me when I was stuck, teaching me basic medic jutsu before going off to spar with Hinata and supporting the bashful Hyuga the entire time. I wonder who my soulmate is. Naruto used to have a crush on me, but he later claimed it was a sisterly love rather than love. I smiled and accepted him for that. Now, I will prove that I am strong, not only to Sasuke-kun but also to my family, my team, and most importantly, myself. Kakashi would smile at the two and say that they had a special bond. I think he called them soulmates. Using a tiny bit of chakra, Naruto said, Sweden. Bakusu Shaha, 1. Who? Was it? Kakashi squinted one eye and asked. Up Kakashi. Sensei, today you're going to be on time, replied Naruto. Naruto woke Kakashi up by forcing hot coffee down his throat and saying, here's your coffee. Stunned, Kakashi opened his mouth to respond, but Naruto pushed 5 rice balls in before he could yell in agony. Naruto remarked, that's breakfast. Sweden. Bakusu Shaha. Naruto repeated, soaking Kakashi in water. That's your shower and to clean your clothes. Kaden. Ga Kakia, no jutsu, too, was cleaned by you. Naruto handed him his book and said, here's your Icha Icha book. Naruto said, and Thesa is your transport, while firmly grasping him. With a flick of his wrist, Naruto then poofed and they both sped toward the bridge using Shunshin no Jutsu, 3. When Hinata and Sakura reached the bridge, they were both wondering where Kakashi and Naruto were. The words, got him here on time, were spoken by Naruto. My throat burns, Kakashi uttered. As Naruto shoved the water down Kakashi's throat, he said, Sweden. Bakusu Shaha. Kakashi let a cloud of steam escape from his mouth. All right, you have until noon to remove these 2 bells. You 3 return to the academy if you don't, Kakashi said. Hinata said, Ae.no Kakashi. Sensei, there's only 2 bells. Kakashi remarked, that means one of you fails no matter what. Are you ready? Proceed. Kakashi and the 3 genin fled into the forest after saying this. Naruto said, Hinata. Chan, over here. When Hinata saw the suffix, Chan, she flushed. Hey Hinata, I've already dispatched a second clone to find Sakura. We can only defeat him if we all cooperate, okay? Naruto said. Hinata said, H.Hi. The only sign that Naruto was smiling at her was when his eye turned into an upside-down U. Hinata's face flushed slightly. It appears that Sakura disliked the plan and believed she could complete it on her own. Oh well, Hinata. Chan, we can try anyhow, Naruto remarked. What if I'm not SS? Strong enough, Onyo and Naruto.kun, Hinata inquired. Naruto answered, don't worry, Hinata. Chan. I believe in you. Hinata's face flushed bright red. He has faith in me, she thought. All right, Naruto said, laying out his straightforward yet successful strategy. This doesn't look good, Kakashi thought. Since Naruto is a genius, I'm confident he'll reveal a few secrets. Naruto slid into a Juken stance and said, let's fight Kakashi, sensei. Juken? Kakashi asked himself. That implies, where is Naruto? Hinata, under a henge, then tapped both of Kakashi's legs, causing the latter to become numb. Naruto then attempted to kick him in the head, kicking a log while Kakashi used Kawarimi no Jutsu. Immediately after, he collided with Sakura's wrist, which sent him back into the clearing, where the three of them engaged in a fierce battle for the bell, with Kakashi feeling the pressure of their teamwork, particularly when Naruto delivered a few hard blows to his area. Suddenly, a rumble was heard, and Kakashi was pulled down. Kakashi thought, damn it, Doden. Shinha, Zanshu no Jutsu, 5. Kakashi thought, oh crap, as he heard Naruto say something that would spell his demise. Sakura took the two bells, tossed one to Hinata, and Naruto pulled himself up from the ground and stood beside his teammates after saying, Senengarashi, 6, and sending Kakashi flying up through the hardened mud and onto the ground. Hinata then tapped Kakashi's arms and legs, rendering them numb and nearly useless. Sakura grinned and declared, we win, Kakashi, sensei. Well done, team. You all passed the test and understood it. Kakashi rubbed his sore rectum and declared, Team 7 is an official genin team as of tomorrow. With a smile, Naruto declared, this calls for a celebration. Where should we go, Anyo? Hinata inquired. The statement, no Naruto, not there, was made by Kakashi. Naruto muttered, HMPH fine, and Hinata giggled behind her hands at the idea of Naruto gorging himself on ramen. You resemble Kakashi. Sensei a lot, Naruto. You both use the same lines and wear masks. Sakura said, glancing at the two men holding books, you two also share the same habits. Naruto remarked, no, I'm not a pervert, Kakashi. Sensei is. Kakashi retorted, he copied me. Whatever, was Naruto's response. I know where we should go, there's this small cafe copyright called Naomi's Cafe Copyright, Sakura replied. Naruto replied, sure, why not Sakura? Chan? Oh okay, was Hinata's response, relieved to have more time to spend with Naruto. Congratulations, Kakashi. Sensei, but I won't ever make you breakfast again, no matter how much you pay, Naruto was threatened. Kakashi pleaded with Naruto on his hands and knees to be able to pay him because he was afraid of missing his rice balls. Naruto grinned and made an upside down U with his eye. Why Kakashi? Sensei, your generosity exceeds our expectations, replied Naruto. Together, they laughed and made their way back to civilization. The atmosphere in Team 7 Inches was lighthearted as they strolled along, discussing anything that made them laugh or smile. After entering the cafe copyright and being shown to a booth in the back corner, they sat down quickly, with Kakashi next to Sakura and Hinata next to Naruto, much to her embarrassment and delight, and continued to talk, laugh, and smile while the waiter glared at Naruto but was silenced when Kakashi gave him a face. They stopped talking when a waiter appeared and placed a bowl of rice balls on the table. To everyone's surprise, Naruto reached for one and placed it on Hinata's bowl while grinning subtly behind his mask. To them, the background was nothing as they relished their time together as a team, not training or completing missions. Kakashi remarked, becoming a gentleman Naruto. Naruto rolled his eyes and sarcastically remarked, yeah, I learned from the best. Sakura and Hinata suppressed their laughter. So, how do you anticipate things going? Kakashi referred to the group occupying the booth. Hinata giggled softly as Naruto sat frowning and looked at her, asking her what was wrong. Hinata uttered, G. Gomen, N. Nothing Naruto.kun. After removing his mask, Naruto gave her a gentle smile. He winked and said, if you say so, before bringing a rice ball to his lips. Team, the question is still open, Kakashi stated. Sakura remarked, well, it's going to be interesting, I suppose. We'll have to face a lot of challenges in the future, but we're still weak, stated Naruto. Kakashi scowled at this, Sakura gave him a furious look, and Hinata cast a sorrowful glance down. However, anything is possible when people work together. Naruto grinned broadly and remarked, I bet we'll all grow strong together. Together, like a family, Sakura added. After that, Naruto lifted his arm and hand to the center of the table, and Hinata, flushed, placed her hand on top of his. Sakura followed, and then Kakashi, and they all came together as one. They shouted, "Team 7A forever!" Others around them glared at the demon brat, while others gave the group strange looks. Behind his mask, Kakashi looked contentedly as he munched on a rice ball, and Naruto could feel the glares, but he didn't care because he was happy with his team, or so he hoped. Kakashi said, "I would like to talk to you later, Naruto." Naruto said, "Hi, I have to do something first." Unexpectedly, Kakashi paid and they departed the booth, leaving only Naruto and Hinata behind. Sakura waved as she left, and Kakashi grinned and strode off. Naruto said, "If you like Hinata-chan, I'll walk you home." Hinata uttered, Rigato and Naruto.kun. To Hinata's delight, Naruto's mask was hanging off his neck rather than covering his face as it usually would have, and they conversed softly as they made their way back. "So, are you okay with our team, Hinata-chan?" Naruto inquired. Even though Hinata appeared a little dejected, she said, "Hi, I'll like it very much." "Why do you look so depressed, Hinata-chan?" Naruto inquired. "Gee. Gomen Naruto.kun, just thinking about something," she replied. Naruto looked at her with concern in his cerulean eyes and said, "I'll always be here for you if you want to talk about it." Hinata uttered, Arigato Naruto.kun. Naruto turned to Hinata and they stood in front of the gate, walking the remaining distance in silence. "Hinata," Naruto said. "Yeah?" she inquired. Leaning over, he put his face against her cheek. He whispered in her ear, "You should smile more, it brings the sun out." He then gave her a quick peck on the cheek and vanished with a poof. Hinata stood there, red-eyed and wide-eyed, with her hand over the spot where Naruto had kissed her. The sensation was so intense that it seemed as though they were connected and that electricity was glimmering through her body. "What is this feeling?" Hinata asked herself. With a whisper, she said, "Naruto-kuna." Naruto exclaimed, "Oh man, what was I thinking? I gave her a kiss, and did I enjoy it?" Naruto inquired. "It was, wada no, I didn't like it, once more." Naruto said, "Kyubi, I need a chat." He materialized in a vast forest clearing, where the Kyubi was contentedly dozing off and dreaming of devouring enormous rabbits. Naruto grinned before piercing the Kyubi's eye, which caused him to become enraged. "What?" Kyubi shouted. Naruto said, "Kyubi-sama, I need some advice." Kyubi yawned and remarked, "It's that pale-eyed Hyuga girl, isn't it?" What? No," Naruto objected. "There's no use keeping anything from me, Naruto." Kyubi remarked, "I could read your dad like a book, like I can now." With his feet shuffled, Naruto remarked, "I kind of kissed her on the cheek." "Kissed her? Already? Wow, Naruto, you're turning into a ladies' man," Kyubi chuckled. "I don't know, damn it, Kyubi. I've never experienced this feeling before. It was similar to Sakura, really, but when I kissed her, my entire body was electrified," Naruto remarked. "Wow, this is a unique kit," Kyubi remarked. "What?" Naruto inquired. "You appear to have found your true love. Very few people have true soulmates," Kyubi remarked. "Soulmate?" Naruto inquired. "Yes, Kit, a person created just for you. It looks like you found your vixen. Will the puppies arrive soon?" Kyubi teasedly asked. "Arrow. Kitsune," was Naruto's mumble. "Brat," was Kyubi's response. "I appreciate your assistance. This is a gift," Naruto said, causing massive rabbits to appear. "Kami. Bless you, Kit," Kyubi said as he pursued a huge 40-foot rabbit. After the Kyubi, Naruto exclaimed, "It should taste like rabbit too." Naruto returned to the real world with a smile. He saw his 300 clones working hard, so he sat down under a tree and began reading. After all of the clones' experiences returned to him, Naruto poofed away to Kakashi's apartment, which he opened with his key to reveal Kakashi and Kurenai engaging in intense flirtation. With a "don't mind me" expression, Naruto picked up a scroll from a table and left. With a glance at Naruto, Kurenai remarked, "He always seems to surprise me." Kakashi grinned and turned to face Kurenai, saying, "Yeah, it's very interesting. And now where were we?" "Do you know anyone who could cut my hair well, Kakashi-sensei?" Naruto inquired. Kakashi said, Ask Wakashi Trian," Naruto said. "Arigato," before vanishing in a puff. Hinata and Sakura, exhausted and drowsy, trudged to the bridge at 8 in the morning. Sakura said, "Morning Hinata, Morning Sakura, Hinata stammered. Sakura sighed and said, knowing Kakashi, we'll have to wait. Anyo. Wouldn't Naruto-kun ensure that he arrives on schedule? Hinata inquired. Only when Naruto's over Kakashi's house, otherwise I suggest we do some training ne? Sakura inquired. Hinata said, Hi. At precisely 10:30 Naruto and Kakashi showed up at the same time. Sorry we're late, you see Naruto and I were walking towards here and on the way we were attacked by this giant marshmallow. It ate us and we had to eat our way out of it, said Kakashi. Liar, yelled Sakura. Hinata, Naruto and Kakashi's sweat dropped. Hinata stared at Naruto. Something was different about Hima, what was it? His hair. He's not wearing his mask either, she thought, looking at Naruto's haircut and face. His longish ponytail was now cut, and he wore his hite dot around his neck. His normally spiky hair now cascaded down in spiky bangs, making him look more like the Yondaime Hokage. So, looks like Hinata and Sakura has noticed, thought Kakashi, thinking back to the previous day. Rewind. Naruto walked in with the new haircut. Yondaime? Asked Kakashi. Naruto face-faulted, shocked at the statement. I wish, he said, rubbing his nose before walking towards his room. You planning on cooking dinner? Kakashi inquired. Whatever, replied Naruto from his room. Hell yes. Naruto's RICEBALLS. Shouted Kakashi with joy, jumping in the air. Somewhere nearby Yuhi Kurenai looked up from her scroll which she was reading. I swear I heard Kakashi's voice, she said, before shrugging and went back to reading her scroll. Somewhere not so nearby Jiraiya giggled, taking notes on the women in the hot springs bath. He looked up from his notes. I swear I heard Kakashi's voice, he said quite loudly, before looking back into the hole. All the women were gone. He turned around when he felt a massive amount of killer intent behind him. He turned slowly around to see the naked women angry and ready to kill someone, a certain perverted Sanin. Hi? Said Jiraiya before he was sent flying. Well, at least I got attacked by naked women, he thought, writing notes as he flew through the air. The flashback has ended. Naruto looked hotter much more than before, Hinata thought before blushing at her thoughts. Naruto-kun looks cute with that new haircut. Wait, what am I saying? I like Sasuke. What the hell, Naruto-kun? Well, I'll admit with that new haircut he definitely looks attractive, thought Sakura. Naruto caught her staring, smiling softly. He brushed the bangs out of his eyes and approached Hinata. He hugged her gently, whispering, Hey beautiful, in her ear. Hinata blushed a deep shade of red at being called that. She fits perfectly in my arms like she was made for me, thought Naruto. He fits perfectly in my arms like he was made for me, thought Hinata. Now lovebirds, enough of that. We have work to do, said Kakashi. Naruto and Hinata let go of each other and blushed. Gomen Kakashi. Sensei, said Naruto, scratching his head absent-mindedly. Old habits die hard. Your first mission is to do something genins have done, but sustain immense injuries, said Kakashi seriously. What is it? Asked Naruto eagerly. It stalks through the night, hiding and stealthy, before it strikes. Kakashi continued. What is it? Asked Naruto louder. It sees all, it feels all, it knows all, Kakashi continued. What is it? Asked Naruto, even louder. The Daiwaimo's wife's cat, we have to rescue it, said Kakashi finally. The genin's face faulted. Cat? Naruto inquired. That is no ordinary kata, I assure you, said Kakashi. Naruto snorted. It was going to be a piece of cake. Later that day Naruto ran from the clearing, scratch marks on his face and arms. That is not a cat, yelled Naruto as he ran, that is a monster. Behind him, Kakashi was subdued by the cat as it attached itself to his face. He hit the deck, rolling around. He even ran into a tree to try to get the cat off, to no avail. Kakashi managed to pull off the cat, and ran away after Naruto, and yelled, I still haven't gotten used to that damn cat. Sakura pounced on the cat. She tried to outwrestle it, to no avail. The cat broke free, and jumped at her face. Snarling, Sakura drew back her fist and landed a heavy blow on the cat's face. The cat went flying, hitting a tree headfirst. Piece of cake, she thought. The cat then pulled itself from the tree, looking at her with killer intent. Oh crap, Sakura thought, as the cat jumped towards her with blinding speed. A team of injured ninjas dragged themselves up to the Hokage's office. What happened? It looks like you've all been in a war, said Sandaime Hokage. That kata is a monster, said Naruto before breaking down and sobbing. Hinata consoled the crying Naruto, patting him softly on the back. The cat was chained up, unable to do anything. Sakura gleefully held it by the scruff of its neck. "Oh my baby," screamed Daiwaimos, A.N. Not sure if this is the spelling, wife. She hugged the cat fiercely, crushing it in a bone-crunching hug. "That's right, a suffer a squeeze that caught a harder old woman, harder," thought Kakashi and Naruto gleefully. "Okay, your next mission is babysitting a group of children," said Sandaime Hokage. "Hi," they all said, trudging out the door. "Daiwaimo's cat isn't that Bada, is it?" thought Sandaime Hokage before the cat broke free from Daiwaimo's death grip and attached itself to his face. Team 7 heard screams of, "My baby!" the yelling of Enbu trying to catch the elusive cat and Sandaime Hokage swearing profusely at a certain cat. If Sandaime Hokage had it his way, that cat would have been executed for treason of attacking the Hokage. Team 7 trudged up to the Hokage's office. "Team 7 report as successful," said Kakashi, before all 4 of them broke down sobbing. Kakashi had pig ears, a pig nose, a curly tail attached to his pants and pink squiggles on his clothes. Naruto had pink sprayed all over him with blue polka dots. Sakura was almost completely painted with green and red and Hinata was covered in yellow paint. It seems the children had become creative with Kakashi, but not everyone else. For a few weeks, this continued. The missions were completely useless and boring. Daiwaimo's cat didn't help either, having to catch the damn thing at least 8 times. Although they hated the missions, they enjoyed the training as Kakashi trained them and pushed them hard to their potential. Naruto would go off into a clearing, summon his cage Bushins, then return to the group to train with them. They had all progressed well under Kakashi's command. Lady Luck was never on the side of Team 7 for these few weeks, especially when the self-proclaimed, the beautiful green beast of Konoha, decided to make an appearance, freaking everyone out, not more than Sakura who, the beautiful green beast of Konoha Jr., blew love hearts at her. She shuddered and ducked them all. Guy, as the beautiful green beast of Konoha was known, had challenged Kakashi to a duel. It was 49-50 in Guy's favor. They played out scissors paper rock, with Kakashi winning and sending Guy in tears. Lee had then proclaimed his undying youthful flames of love to Sakura and naming Naruto as his eternal rival. Naruto had just face-faulted and broke down crying, not wanting to have anything to do with the weird bull hair cut, spandex-wearing, bushy eyebrows ninja. But Naruto acknowledged Lee's dream of becoming a ninja even though he couldn't use ninjutsu and genjutsu. Lee had smiled, crying tears and had name repetition with his sensei. They met another member of their team, 10-10, who flinched when they saw them hugging in front of a sunset with waves crashing down. How that background got there, they never knew. Naruto was traumatized for life. He sought solace in Hinata's arms, who tried to comfort her boyfriend a crush in any way possible. He had finally cheered up when she said she'll take him out for ramen. Naruto had brightened up, smiling happily and gave her a hug. After the eventful meeting, they marched to the Hokage's office to receive another mission. "Hey old man, we need a new mission," said Naruto. "Naruto, what brings you here?" said Sandaime. "We're tired of D-ranked missions. I'm sure the team agrees with us. Give us something harder to do," said Naruto. "Naruto, you should be sticking to D-ranked missions. C-ranked missions are too hard for young genins like you," said Iruka. "Naruto speaks for all of us when he says we're tired of D-ranked missions. We need something to test our strength and teamwork," said Sakura. Sandaime pondered, before chucking a C-ranked mission to Kakashi. "Your mission is to protect Tazuna to Water Country and aid him in building a bridge," said Sandaime Hokage. "Tazuna, you can come in now," said Sandaime Hokage. At this, a drunken old man walked in, drinking deeply from a sake bottle. "I'm the bridge builder Tazuna. You must protect me with your lives. These are the ninjas protecting me. They all look like bakas, especially the short blonde one," Tazuna said. "Never underestimate us," Naruto said, smirking. Tazuna snorted, taking another enormous sip. "Tazuna, my team are extremely skilled and their teamwork is strong too. Don't underestimate them, and even then if things go wrong, I'm a Junin so you'll be fine," said Kakashi. Tazuna nodded. "We leave in half an hour, meet at the front gate. Bring whatever you need," said Kakashi, and was met with a chorus of highs. 2 hours later. "Sorry we're late. You see, Naruto and I saw this elderly couple walking across the road, but they couldn't move very fast. So we had to escort them from one side of the road to another, which we did patiently," said Kakashi. Liar, yelled Sakura. Sakura looked bored, Tazuna looked drunk, but Hinata was smiling softly at the appearance of Naruto. Naruto caught her eye, and winked at her. Hinata looked down, blushing softly. Well, let's get this show on the road, said Kakashi, and they all walked away along the main path, unaware of the dangers ahead. 1 hour into the journey, Naruto face-faulted. Haha Kit, enjoy the next level of the weights, cackled the Kyubi. Damn fox, thought Naruto. Hinata helped a struggling Naruto up. His weights weigh a ton, she thought. Arigato Hinata. Chan, said Naruto, smiling at her as he brushed the bangs out of his eyes. Hinata blushed and smiled back at him softly. As she smiled, the sun came out from several clouds. You know Hinata. Chan, when you smile the sun comes out, said Naruto, pointing to the sun who was peering out from the clouds. Hinata blushed and giggled softly. The group slowly continued on, passing a strange puddle on the side of the road. A puddle at this time of the year is strange, thought Naruto, but kept it to himself to not alarm his teammates. As Kakashi passed by the puddle, 2 chunin ranked missed. Nins jumped out, holding a chain connected to each other. They then wrapped Kakashi tightly, ripping him apart in a cascade of blood and guts. 1 down. A 4 to go. Naruto drew a shuriken at the chain, lodging it in a tree. Then he threw a well-placed kunai, securing the shuriken. The demon brothers dislodged the chain, and charged. 1 at Naruto, 1 at Sakura. Naruto charged at the demon brother, ducking under his wild-clawed swing, punching him hard in the stomach. The breath was pushed out of him and he choked out blood at the power of the punch. Naruto then flipped onto his hands, kicking him double-footed in the chin, careening him into a tree. He hit the tree with a sickening crack, before falling unconscious. The other demon brother snuck past Sakura's defense, landing a heavy punch on her face, sending her flying away. Hinata stood in front of Tazuna, determined and ready to defend the bridge builder. Tazuna was afraid and shocked. The demon brother smiled and charged with the wild look of bloodlust in his eyes. At this, Hinata was too stunned to move. She panicked as she was held in place by his bloodlusting eyes, and when she finally broke free of his gaze, it was too late. She saw the jagged claw come swinging towards her and she shut her eyes, waiting for the impending pain. Blood covered the road. Hinata shut her eyes, but opened when she felt a warm sticky substance splat on her. In front of her, standing defensively over her, was Naruto, with the claw digging into his back. Instantly, tears welled in her eyes. Everything went in slow motion. He looked up at her as she started to cry. His eyes weren't full of pain, rather of protectiveness and love. He smiled softly at her, before grabbing the ninja's wrist and twisting it. He pulled the claw from his back, gasping at the pain. Holding the man's broken wrist, he punched the demon brother in the face several times, until he fell unconscious. Naruto then collapsed from the blood loss. Hinata screamed in anguish and pain of her own weakness and inability to defend herself. In a certain clearing of forest, Naruto woke up groggily, groaning as he got to his feet. He looked up at a smiling Kyubi, which was kind of scary for the ultimate demon. So, you like her don't you? Kyubi said, chuckling. What? Who? Naruto inquired. That Hyuga girl, I watched every moment of that, Kyubi said again, laughing. What's so funny? Said Naruto angrily. Of your bravery to stand in front of a blow that would have probably killed her. Kid, I'm proud of you. You've earned a lot more of my respect, so as a gift I'll up your gravity weights, said Kyubi. Sweet, wait what? You sadistic bastard, yelled Naruto before he fell to the ground at the overwhelming weight of his gravity seals. Kyubi's laughter echoed through the clearing as Naruto struggled gamely to lift himself off the ground. Damn Kitsune. He muttered. Now Kit, that's not the way to speak to your dad's best friend, said the Kyubi. Best friend or not best friend, I'll still kick your ass, said Naruto, finally managing to get onto his feet. The Kyubi smiled, then nodded at him. I think it's time I taught you a new jutsu, said the Kyubi, smiling that if he made the boy happy, he might give him more giant rabbits chase and eat. What is it called? Naruto inquired. One that almost no ninja alive knows. Shuriken Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. It will make all your shuriken you throw multiply by heaps, depending on how much chakra you put into it. Then the Kyubi showed Naruto the hand seals. Naruto tried it once, and from one shuriken turned into 150. Well, at least you won't miss, said the Kyubi amused. Time for you to wake up, Kit. Naruto nodded, before using his imagination to summon 10 massive rabbits for the Kyubi to eat. "Talk to you later, Kyubi sama," said Naruto, waving. "Later, Skit," said the Kyubi, bounding away happily after a giant rabbit. Kakashi landed next to her, then instructed Sakura and Hinata to heal Naruto. They knew decent medical jutsus from scrolls given to them by Kakashi. A green glow covered their hands as they worked feverishly to heal Naruto. Then they rolled him back over as he slowly opened his eyes. "Naruto, that was brave but also very stupid," lectured Kakashi. "I won't let my precious people get hurt, especially you, Hinata-chan," said Naruto, looking up into Hinata's lavender eyes. Hinata then hugged him, sobbing into his chest. "I thought I had lost you forever," she said, whispering. "As long as I'm here, I'll always be here for you, Hinata-chan," said Naruto, using his thumbs to wipe away her tears. He gave her a small smile, and she smiled back. "Tazuna, you have some explaining to do," said Kakashi. Tazuna sighed, before starting to talk. "In Water Country, the economy is terrible. A rich ruthless businessman by the name of Gato has taken over. He controls all trade now, and the water inhabitants are starving. The bridge is our only way to bring back trade to Water Country and save us all," said Tazuna. "This mission has been upped from a C to at least a B or an A. It's my team's decision, not mine," said Kakashi. Kakashi. "Sensei, these people need our help. We've taken the mission, I feel that we're obligated to see it through," said Naruto. "I agree," said Sakura, stepping forward. "As do I," said Hinata confidently, not stuttering. Kakashi looked at them then smiled, his eye turning into an upside-down U. "So be it, Tazuna, lead the way," said Kakashi, and they continued along their path, unaware of a masked figure watching them. So they defeated the Demon Brothers. "I must report to Zabuza." Senpai immediately, thought the hunter. Nin, disappearing in a flurry of leaves. "I am nothing more than a tool. A shinobi is someone who was created to serve as a tool for their village. However, shinobi can also be used as tools by other people. Shinobi live in a world where prejudice reigns supreme. Alliances are formed and broken in an instant. Shinobi are at the mercy of every cage, and only the strongest survive. I am nothing more than a tool. When there is no one to save you, who am I to be? Without anyone to recognize you, who are you supposed to be? Who are you supposed to be? Who has the courage to endure such loneliness? But do you follow someone mindlessly when they arrive and you have nowhere to go? Or do you simply leave, prepared to confront your future and destiny head on? I am Haku, Momochi Zabuza's missing. Nin tool. And I wouldn't have it any other way if I had another chance. I think money, power, and control are important. As they say, money is the root of all evil. When you can completely avoid fate, why fight it? But what role does family play in this? But because of him, it does in my life somehow. I should have died, I'm sure, at least 5 times, but he's always there when the chips fall. He's just a tool, so I'm not sure, but Haku is always there for me when I need assistance. It's a good thing I trained him years ago. He is intelligent, strong, and submissive. However, he is now more than just a tool in my eyes. I would give anything to give him another chance at life because he is the son I never had. I am a mere tool, so who am I to think such things? As shinobi, we are not allowed to develop an emotional bond. However, I will one day tell Haku that I am proud of him and that he was the son I never had. I am the demon of the hidden mist, Momochi Zabuza. I would give my life to preserve the light. We are the Kirigakure ninja twins, Haku and Zabuza. We will proudly die together, just as we run, fight, and live our lives together. Silently, but gracefully, he leapt through the trees. His goal was to reach Zabuza.san as soon as possible. He had more time to get ready for the enemies they would be facing. Silently, a lone figure moved down a dimly lit corridor. At the time, it was located close to Water Country's boundaries, somewhere in the forest. The hallway echoed with the sounds of conversation, reverberating throughout the space. He turned left and entered the room quietly, finding his master, Momochi Zabuza, demon of the hidden mist, sitting on the couch. Gato was enraged and declared that he had vanquished the ninjas he had dispatched to murder Tazuna. Right now, Gato was having one of his sissy outbursts. With one hand, Zabuza held out his enormous zanbato at Gato's throat and said, "Gato, stop talking. The demon brothers were just a test to see how good they are. I will deal with them personally." Gato angrily remarked, "Just kill him quickly or you won't get paid," and he and his 2 bodyguards left. Gato was stopped in his tracks by Zabuza's zanbato. Zabuza smirked and lowered his zanbato, saying, Oh, don't worry, I will deal with them in time. Don't underestimate me, Gato, or you might wind up dead. Tazuna walked briskly away, leaving in a huff. Following the fat figure, Zabuza muttered, "Stupid fat jerk." They defeated the demon brothers with ease, but it seems in the process one of the genins, the blonde-haired one, was injured, stated Haku. With a very good Haku, get ready. We leave in an hour statement, Zabuza got up and entered the room. Haku said, I hope you know what you're doing, Zabuza. Senpai, before turning to face the room again. He repeated, I sincerely hope you do, before leaving. One member of Team 7 strolled down the street. Since the mission was risky, there wasn't much conversation. Every 10 minutes, Hinata used her Byakugan to scan, and they all kept an eye out. They felt their senses prickle. There was a problem. Naruto tossed a kunai into the bushes after reaching into his weapon pocket. Fearful of the kunai, a small white rabbit fled from the bushes. Sakura screamed, Naruto, and gave Naruto a head bump. Look, you just tried to kill a poor defenseless rabbit. After removing his eyelashes, Naruto turned to face her. Naruto began, that's strange, it's wearing its winter coat, which means. Kakashi shouted, down team, and dragged Tazuna to the ground with him. A huge Zanbato flew overhead as they all hit the deck. A figure emerged on the hilt as it lodged in a tree. Momochi Zabuza, demon of the hidden mist. Kakashi's hite was raised. Zabuza grinned behind the bandages covering his face and said, Copy. Katenin Kakashi, it's an honor that you know about me. Naruto questioned, why is he called Demon of the Hidden Mist? Wella in Kirigakure, it used to be called the Hidden Village of the Bloody Mist, replied Kakashi. Why? Naruto inquired. Because they used to pit all the academy graduates against each other. Kill or be killed. Momochi Zabuza single-handedly killed every single academy graduate, even though he didn't come from a ninja background. He is also one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, and is currently an S-ranked missing nin, stated Kakashi. Zabuza flipped forward and drew his sword, saying, You've done your research, but it's time to die. Form a defensive triangle formation around Tazuna. I'll take care of Zabuza, replied Kakashi. In the hopes that his teammates wouldn't be able to see it clearly, Naruto activated his Sharingan. Zabuza laughed sarcastically as an artificial mist engulfed the area. Noting the jutsu in his expanding jutsu library, Naruto grinned. He pondered, may God bless Zabuza. Throat, spinal column, lungs, liver, the jugular vein, the sub-clavian artery, kidney, heart. So many choices, what vital, vulnerable place shall I choose? Hey. Maniacally cackled Zabuza. Gritting his teeth, Kakashi rushed out to confront Zabuza. They clashed, with kunai facing Zanbato. They were happy to push against one another for a while, before Kakashi abruptly materialized behind Zabuza with the kunai at his throat. His words, it's over, cut Zabuza's throat. When Zabuza transformed into water, Kakashi appeared surprised. Clone, was his startled response. Then Kakashi was decapitated by Zabuza's Zanbato, which swung through the air from behind, but Kakashi also changed into water. Facing Kakashi, Zabuza remarked, so, you made a water clone say all that? I'm impressed. He answered, I try not to disappoint. When they met, kunai faced Zanbato. After thrusting with his kunai, Kakashi gritted his teeth in agony as Zabuza sidestepped and gave him a stomach elbow. Then Zabuza punched him in the throat, sending a shockwave of pain and wind through his head. Then he vanished and resurfaced behind the group of genin. Croaking, behind you, while nursing his throat, Kakashi said. With wide eyes, Naruto turned and watched the blade flash down at Tazuna. All of the genins used their kunais to deflect the blade, and it met with a spark. It was difficult for the 3 of them to keep Tazuna safe from the Zanbato. Zabuza was kicked away by Kakashi as he turned around. They clashed once more, with Kakashi landing on the water after leaping away from Zabuza to avoid the slash. Whoa! Kakashi thought. Beside him, Zabuza leapt, trapping Kakashi in a water prison while flashing hand signals. Naruto thought, another one, God, I love my Sharingan. Go, run. This battle was decided when I was caught in this water prison, replied Kakashi. Remember what you said, Kakashi. Sensei. Those who don't help their friends are worse than trash. Naruto said astutely, wiping his bangs from his eyes. With a determined gleam in her eyes, Sakura said, and we'll get you out with teamwork. With a laugh, Zabuza called forth 10 water clones. Then he looked at Naruto and let out a gasp. Zabuza questioned, Sharingan at such a young age? Sakura inquired. Sharingan? Naruto thought, crap, and turned off his Sharingan. Your blonde teammate has a fully developed Sharingan at such a young age, I'm impressed, said Zabuza. Sakura and Hinata were perplexed by Naruto's azure eyes, which could easily captivate them. Naruto shrugged and said, Zabuza, I'm afraid you're wrong. I don't have the Sharingan. Kage Bushin no Jutsu, was Naruto's statement, making 50 Narutos appear. The water clones were then overpowered as they charged at the 10 clones. Naruto looked at the other 2 members of Team 7 and said, okay, this is what we're going to do. After Hinata emerged from the mist and attempted to use her Juken to tap Zabuza's Tenketsu, Naruto suddenly appeared and kicked him in the face, sending him flying into the water while grinning. Kakashi got to his feet. I'm proud of you all, guys, and I'll take it from here, Kakashi said, grinning behind his mask. With a nod, Naruto and Hinata returned to the shore. Then, imitating Zabuza's move, Kakashi threw himself into a tree with his water dragon. 2 Senbon needles buried themselves in his neck just as Kakashi was about to finish him, killing him. Before picking up the body and vanishing in a cloud of leaves, the hunter. Nin said, thank you for helping me kill Zabuza, I had been tracking him for a long time. Covering his Sharingan, Kakashi walked back to the group and smiled briefly before he passed out from chakra exhaustion. Sakura exclaimed, Kakashi, Sensei, as he struck the floor. Naruto reassured Sakura that it was simply chakra exhaustion. What did Anyo, and Naruto.kun, mean by Sharingan? Hinata inquired. With a sigh, Naruto turned to face them. You might be alarmed by what you see. Especially you, Sakura, Naruto uttered. After closing his eyes, he opened them to reveal his fully developed Sharingan. Oh my Kamiya! Sakura exclaimed. What the hell is with these ninjas? Tazuna thought as Hinata stood there, her eyes wide and her mouth open in shock. Sakura finally said, you have the Sharingan, following a tense silence. She started, which means a Yura. Naruto said, glancing at them, an Uchiha. I'll talk to you when I'm ready. Let's just get to Tazuna's house so Kakashi Sensei can rest, replied Naruto. They took a boat across the lake and arrived at Tazuna's house, where Tsunami, Tazuna's daughter, fussed and hurried a tired Naruto upstairs so that Kakashi could rest on a futon. When he came downstairs, he saw Sakura and Hinata arguing about how kawaii Naruto looked with his new haircut. Am I disturbing you? Uncertain, Naruto inquired. Hinata blushed and looked down at her feet, which at the time seemed so fascinating to her. Anyo en. Nothing Naruto. K.kun, she muttered. Sakura shrugged and said, yeah, nothing, before leaving to assist Tsunami in the kitchen. He noticed a boy glaring at him out of the corner of his eye, and Naruto turned to face him, wiping his bangs from his eyes, only to disappear as he did. Strange, Naruto thought. As Inari walked angrily through the woods until he reached a lake, overlooking the bridge, he thought, they're all going to die. Like my father. Gato will easily kill them all. Why do they come? What hope is there since Gato has come? Why has grandfather brought them? He just signed their death warrant. They won't succeed. They will fail. They will all die. Inari asked himself. Why? Naruto gave the boy a sorrowful glance. Inari, you'll know one day. He whispered, his voice lost in the wind. One day I will show you that heroes still exist, even when there is nothing but a glimmer of hope. One dia, Naruto muttered once more as he turned to leave. All right, team, Kakashi said, heavily relying on his crutches, this is your training exercise for today. Trees? Sakura raised an eyebrow in question. Kakashi pointed to the trees once more and said, exactly, you're going to climb up those trees. Sakura snorted, a preschooler could do that. Yes, but how many young children are able to climb a tree without using their hands? Kakashi inquired. Anyo K Kakashi. Sensei. S.SOW. We must circa climb that tree. Puzzled, Hinata asked. Exactly, allow me to demonstrate my elite skills of chakra control, replied Kakashi. The Genins flinched as he hit the ground with a loud crash after he had climbed the tree 2 steps up. Lousy bloody chakra control, was Kakashi's angry mutter. How could we do it if you can't? Sakura inquired. Naruto flinched at the folly of what appeared to be the most intelligent kunoichi in the Rookie 9. Kakashi yelled, I was distracted, before climbing the tree and dangling from a branch. Pulling out his favorite Icha book, Kakashi remarked, this will help you with your chakra control and will help you minimize wastage of chakra. Kakashi nodded at Naruto and said, "Naruto, demonstrate." Hinata and Sakura's jaws hung down as Naruto brushed the bangs from his eyes, nodded slightly, and walked up the tree before descending again. "Good work, Naruto. You may guard Tazuna today while these two train," replied Kakashi. With a nod, Naruto bid them farewell and vanished in a puff. "Now, where were we?" Kakashi asked with a menacing grin. After nearly giving Tazuna a heart attack, Naruto appeared beside him, nodded, and then called forth 400 cage Bushins, of whom 300 immediately fled into the bushes and 100 went off to work. Naruto grinned and remarked, "I'm sure you'll like the extra manpower." Tazuna smiled back and said, "Ah, Naruto-san, thank you for your help, it is most appreciated." Naruto scowled as he looked. He remarked quietly, "Not many people left working on the bridge." Tazuna lamented, "No, many have left in fear of Gato." A man approached Tazuna. "I apologize, Tazuna, but I can no longer jeopardize the security of my family. I've done everything I can," the man said, slouching away. "Get lost, coward. May Kami have mercy for you when Gato breaks down your door and demands payment if this bridge fails," Tazuna yelled after him. Naruto glanced at Kami and grinned before vanishing, saying, "May Kami have mercy on my enemy Asa, for I shall not." "You really are fascinating, Naruto. It appears that Gato must now be mindful of his back. Perhaps you are the one who will revitalize Water Country and inspire faith in all of us." "Perhaps," Tazuna thought to himself as he turned to face his hometown. He whispered to himself, "Maybe, I will dare to hope again." "Maybe." Naruto gritted his teeth and tossed the kunai aside, irritated. With limited success, he attempted to imitate his father's Hirishin no jutsu. "There's only one person who can help me with that," stated Naruto. Kyubi, he thought as he entered his mental realm. Looking at Kit, the Kyubi said, "Well, hello Kit, come in for a nice visit You're my dad's best friend, Kyubi. Sama. How does his Hirishin no jutsu work, do you know?" Naruto inquired. "Depends." Kyubi uttered. With narrowed eyes, Naruto questioned, "On what?" Kyubi remarked, "I feel pretty peckish today." Naruto's eyebrow went up. He conjured a huge rabbit that was twice as large as any other rabbit ever conjured for the Kyubi to eat. Kyubi let out a joyful cry, and just as he was ready to dig his claws in, the rabbit disappeared. "Kit, you'll pay." The Kyubi roared. Naruto yelled, "Damn it Kyubi. Sama, I need your help." "Fine, was the Kyubi's mutter. Clearly bored, Kyubi remarked, "Jiraiya, one of the 3 Sennin who are legendary, would be the only one who would have any chance of knowing." Naruto remarked, "I see. Then, I need him to teach me." The Kyubi grinned as she glanced at him. The Kyubi said, "Since you're here, why don't we make a compromise?" "Name it," Naruto said. "In exchange for teaching you the Rasengan," the Kyubi offered a fellow female fox and several of those incredibly delicious rabbits in an enticing voice. "Rasengan, one of my father's trademark techniques," replied Naruto. "Yes, Kit, you did catch," Kyubi said, tossing him a big scroll. After catching it, Naruto strapped it to his back. "Now, what am I supposed to do?" Kyubi inquired. As many rabbits poofed into existence, Naruto said, "I'm sorry, I don't want to enter here with you making out with another fox, so in return you get double of those supersized rabbits." Naruto exclaimed, "Enjoy," as he exited the mindscape. For 2 weeks, Kakashi trained Hinata and Sakura while Naruto summoned his clones to train while he worked on the Rasengan. He would occasionally consult Kakashi about chakra control and how to improve it, and his only option was to further train his chakra control in order to master the Rasengan. He learned to use it with a clone, but he preferred to use it one-handed so that he wouldn't need a clone. Every night, he would return home exhausted, his hands blistered from excessive chakra use. When he would collapse by the door, Hinata would run to his side, help him onto the table, and feed him herself. In private, she liked feeding her crush, and she also liked doing it when he winked at her once. Occasionally, Naruto would come around and they would talk for hours about nothing. They were content to just spend quality time together. "You're late," was Sakura's shrill response when Naruto stumbled in one night. Naruto sat down, exhausted, and mumbled an apology as Inari glared daggers at him. "What the heck are you doing? Gato is just going to kill you all," Inari retorted. "What the heck are you doing?" With tears in his eyes, he inquired. "There is always hope," Naruto said, glancing at him. "Hope never goes away, even if there is only a flicker. And crying doesn't make it any better," Naruto declared, getting to his feet and leaving in disgust. As Kakashi turned to Tazuna for an explanation, Inari ran away in tears. It wasn't always this bad. Inari wasn't always so resentful. Water Country was once a prosperous country. Then Gato arrived and robbed us of everything. Our aspirations, our prospects, and Inari's father. Hope left this country with Gato's arrival, Tazuna said sourly. As he made his way upstairs to Inari's room, Kakashi remarked, I hope that Tazuna is still there, never forget that. He discovered Inari sobbing over a photo. Did you know that Naruto resembled you a lot? He had no one to acknowledge him or anything, so he lived alone. However, he immediately got back up after falling. Since no one was around to comfort him, he didn't bother to cry. Crying won't make anything better, Inari. You should only cry when you're happy, but it doesn't make the pain go away, Kakashi stated gravely before leaving. You're right, Naruto. I have to be strong for my family as well as for myself, Inari thought. The next morning, after training, Naruto woke up moaning to let out his frustration and saw a girl looking at him while holding a basket. A quiet, good morning, miss, was Naruto's voice. Hello, do you have ninja skills? She inquired. Yes, I am. What has led you to these wooded areas? He inquired. Yes, I do need assistance finding some herbs, but they're not easy to find. Are you able to assist me with them? Asked the woman. Sure, he said, getting to his feet. When they were finished, the woman turned to face him. Is there someone you value highly? She inquired. Yes, I do. I don't have many, but the ones I do have are very valuable. I assume that you also value Zabuza-san? He inquired. Haku's gaze expanded. Don't worry, I understand the struggles you faced. I'm grateful you have such wonderful people in your life. I know people whose lives are boring without these priceless individuals. He said, tell Zabuza that Gato will turn on you. Haku gave a nod. What's your name, by the way? He inquired. Haku answered, by the way, I'm a boy. I know, Naruto grinned, I just said it so you wouldn't think too highly of me. Haku returned the smile, and you are? Haku inquired. Naruto grinned and said, Uzumaki Naruto. Give Zabuza-san my regards. Before leaving, Haku and Naruto bowed to one another. As Haku left, he thought, Uzumaki Naruto, you are definitely a very interesting person. This went on for a few more days. Training, and more training. Life went on as usual, with Naruto still attempting to master the Rasengan and stumbling at night due to exhaustion and chakra burns on his palms. Hinata would help him as he staggered through the door. On this particular night, however, Naruto just passed out as soon as he entered. He fell hard to the ground. With the assistance of Sakura and Kakashi, Hinata hurried to his side and pulled him upstairs to his futon, where she laid him down. What is the weight of his weights? Kakashi eyed the blonde and thought. Hinata glanced at her weary crush and gave him a gentle smile at his contented look. Before leaving, she smiled to herself and thought, he looks so peaceful there, sleeping the night away. Kakashi made the decision to have everyone watch over Tazuna that day early the following morning. As they approached the bridge, a horrifying scene greeted them. Pools of blood spattered the bridge, and bodies were scattered on the ground. Tazuna questioned, who would do such a thing? From the rear, they could hear laughter. They looked in the direction of Momochi Zabuza and the slender figure of the previous hunter. Nin. They were back. Kakashi raised his Sharingan and said, so, we meet again. Haku, go to the left, Zabuza said, gesturing to the hunter. Nin. After giving a nod, Haku left. Zabuza said, Kakashi, I would like to speak with you before we fight. There was a crash in the kitchen. A clang of metal and coarse yells followed a female scream. Naruto awoke slowly before he could hear the noises. He quickly changed and ran down the stairs to face two samurai, one of whom was clutching his head in agony, a saucepan wielding Tsunami, and Inari, who were huddled in the corner sobbing. The two samurai appeared behind Naruto, who vanished. He quickly cut both of their necks with two kunai, carried them outside, and threw them into the water. The speed and savagery of the kills astounded Inari and Tsunami, but Naruto knew if it was him or them. He brushed the bangs from his eyes and grinned as he turned to face those two. Naruto remarked, good job, you guys woke me up in time. He looked over at Inari. Inari, there are times where you cry, and times when you don't cry. You only cry as when you're happy, got it, replied Naruto. Inara wiped away his tears and grinned as she looked at him. Naruto gave him a wink. Naruto handed him a kunai and remarked, you are growing up quickly, Inari. If you aren't already a man, you will soon be one. You must start acting like a man. Naruto said gravely before grinning, only use this to protect those who are precious to you. If you simply kill, you're no better than the next cold-blooded murderer. He ruffled the boy's hair affectionately before vanishing in a poof. But I can see within your heart you're a good person, pure of soul. And remember, you're a man, start acting like one, he said. Inari thought, Naruto-kun, you have taught me to believe again. Like you, I will be a man and defend my beloved people. The impoverished deserve to suffer. The wealthy should be taken care of. Who are the scum who are merely tools for stealing under my feet? Who are they that beg for their lives every day by licking my boots? To extinguish them, as one candle would. Power is that. I am worthy of greater authority. Nobody can stop me because I put a lot of effort into getting to where I am now. Not even Tazuna, that dumbass. I'm Kami, and I'm Gato. Treat people the way you want to be treated, as they say. That statement, in my opinion, is wholly unrelated to my situation, and nothing an old hag says will alter the fact that I am in charge and that I am God. There is a certain ring to the name Gato. Kami. Wave Country will be mine because a god needs his own palace. I will enslave the Wave Country people and subsist on the land's resources after Zabuza has killed Tazuna. They beg for their money and their lives. I possess both. I have the power to either save them or kill them. Money is the reason I have power. My only friend is money, and I will spend the rest of my life in it. Money, money, money. I own it all. I own everything. All of the money is mine, and I have the right to keep it. Individuals arrive and depart. Our lives in Wave Country are like this. After Gato arrived, my father started drinking. In an effort to save Wave Country and bring trade into the nation, he is currently constructing a bridge. He follows a path that few people follow, one that is inspired by his dream. I hope he has the courage and faith to keep going. Father must have given up hope long ago, just as Inari did. I'm not going to give up. Fighting to keep my family alive, I am Tsunami. Battling to maintain a dying flame. We should be saved by karma. You get what you give. All that matters to me is that Gato will deal with him when the time comes. I wish that everything could be different and that Inari would always be a joyful youngster instead of one who is depressed and weeping. We need a hero, and he needs one. A hero. There are never enough miracles. A lot of people hope for a miracle, but none ever occurs. They long for a hero, but none ever appears. I'm Tazuna, and I'm fighting a losing battle with a bridge that could save our lives. Gato is unrelenting. I'm not sure how much longer I can endure this pressure. More men depart every day out of fear of Gato's wealth and influence. I share their fear for their lives, but I have to have strength. I am Wave Country's last hope. Like a newborn with a fever, Wave Country's hope fades. Because there is a sliver of hope, I keep going. Because I see the other side and can hope for its completion, I will continue to defy the odds and build this bridge in order to secure Wave Country's survival. The lives of hundreds of people are at stake. It is not my concern, rather, it is the people of Wave Country, whether the bridge is finished or not, or whether I live or die. Gato's grip on us gets more and more tight every day. We Wave Country people are being choked by him. What we most need right now is a miracle, and we don't have many of them. But there is no other way to save us. We require a miracle. A miracle. Tazuna, Kakashi, Hinata, and Sakura emerged onto the bridge. Tools were scattered on the floor, crates were unpacked, and no one was present. The bridge was silent, eerie. Nearby there was the sound of a drop of water. There was a natural fog on the bridge, which added to the eerie silence. There was little visibility, so anything could happen. With taijutsu stances being formed and kunai drawn and ready, they surrounded Tazuna in a defensive triangle. Footsteps were heard. They came in two sets. One heavy and loud, one soft. They looked for any sign of the incoming party in the fog. The footsteps then came to a halt. When the fog cleared, they turned to see Zabuza standing close by, along with the same hunter.nin. Kakashi raised his hite.ite and made the word, Zabuza, sound. With the hunter.nin nodding, Zabuza stated, "We're not here to fight, and once the fourth member of your jolly band gets here, I'm sure we can explain." A flurry of leaves appeared at this point, and Naruto emerged with his hands in his pockets. "Yo," he said, holding up a hand. He turned to face Zabuza and Haku. Naruto remarked, "Good of you to join us, Haku.san and Zabuza.san." Sakura said, "Join us? What are you talking about?" "Well, I'll explain this part. They found out that Gato was planning on betraying them," replied Naruto. The hunter.nin stepped forward to remove his mask and said, "Yes, Naruto.san, and because of his warning, we haven't acted on any brash actions. The face of a very attractive girl or a feminine boy gave them a small smile. Zabuza grinned behind his bandages and held out his fist, saying, "Yeah, thanks to you, shrimp." Smirking back, Naruto punched the fist. He brushed the bangs from his eyes and turned back to the puzzled group. Naruto remarked, "They're on our side now, that's all." "Oh," Tazuna said bluntly, not knowing how to respond. Kakashi questioned, "What about the other workers?" With an evil laugh, Zabuza remarked, "We killed them all and ate them for breakfast." He sniffed and glanced at them. He muttered angrily, "Fine, fine, we threatened them and they ran for the hills." Kakashi took out his cherished orange book and remarked, "Well, trust Naruto to make friends out of complete strangers." Zabuza exclaimed, "ICHA paradise," in shock. Kakashi raised an eyebrow as he glanced at him. Reaching into a pocket, Zabuza took out the same book. "You read it too?" Kakashi exclaimed, his eyes enlarging. "Of course. What kind of ninja would I be without my beloved Icha book?" he exclaimed with enthusiasm. After exchanging handshakes, they enthusiastically discussed the delights of Icha literature. While Naruto approached Tazuna, Sakura and Hinata approached Haku and struck up a conversation with him. With intelligence, Naruto remarked, "Well, Ojii-san, it appears that you now only have Gato to fear. Naruto, you've been the miracle we've all been waiting for. You have our undying thanks," Tazuna replied. "Tazuna-san, it was my privilege to help you out to save Wave Country. What you've been doing to help the people of Wave Country is something to be proud about," stated Naruto. Tazuna ruffled Naruto's hair and grinned at him. Naruto brushed his bangs from his eyes and glanced up at his irritated face. The loud, demeaning voice said, well, what do we have here?" Tazuna spat, "Gato," and spun around to confront the chubby figure. Gato laughed and said, "Zabuza, you betrayed me too, huh? Looks like you'll all die here today." "I wouldn't say that so easily," Zabuza remarked, firmly holding the hilt of his zanbato. Gato laughed and remarked, "Peeved, you are all child's play in comparison to me." Naruto approached Hinata, who appeared distressed. He winked at her and said, "Hinata-chan, it'll be okay. I'll be keeping an eye on you." Hinata gestured, H.high, while pressing her index fingers together. As her nervousness subsided and her expression hardened, Naruto grinned at her. She firmly stated, "I'm ready." Naruto turned back to Gato, who was grinning ominously, and said, "That's the way, Hinata-chan." Gato laughed and said, "Okay, let's get down to business. Playtime is over." Naruto yelled, "About time, I was getting bored of that old Weezer talk," which caused Gato to flush with rage. "Get them," he called out. 200 bandits charged behind him. As he put his orange book away, Kakashi remarked, "Well, that would prove a problem." "All the more for me," Zabuza exclaimed with enthusiasm. "Kakashi," Zabuza said, "Yeah? I put ninja's dibs on Gato?" "Go ahead." The group standing in front of them was approached by the front ranks. Breaking ranks, Tazuna ran away, scuttling shamelessly to a stack of crates along the bridge. The 6 ninjas in the line began to throw weapons as the bandits got closer. Many were killed when they unleashed a variety of projectiles at the approaching tide, but they kept coming. They charged after drawing their weapons. "Kage Bushin no Jutsu" was Naruto's cry, and 12 Narutos were called forth. After telepathically conversing with each of them, 2 of them separated to protect Hinata, and the remaining 10 charged alongside him as they launched an assault on the front lines. In an effort to prevent the bandits from crossing the line, Naruto used his Sharingan. It would be difficult to repel them. It would be a test for Zabuza and Kakashi alike. Hinata dodged and swerved, her hands flowing elegantly at the swarming enemy ranks. It was a complex dance, tapping one in the shoulder and another in the chest. As she battled valiantly, with her 2 Naruto guards protecting her bare back, her adrenaline was pumping. Hinata would demonstrate her strength to Naruto. Sakura was in hell. She lacked endurance and wasn't much of a fighter. Already, she was getting tired easily. Had it not been for Kakashi's rigorous training, she would have been exterminated long ago. She relied on Haku for support, and he occasionally looked at her to check on her. He would jump in and save her if she needed it. Unfortunately, it's not Sasuke-kun, Sakura thought. Haku was growing weary. He was beginning to feel overwhelmed by the sheer number of opponents, and Sakura was growing more exhausted to his left, but she bravely continued to fight. Haku would pull out his senbon needles and fight the bandits hand to hand. He was aware that the day would be long. Zabuza was enjoying himself immensely. He felt alive for the first time in a long time. He was not fighting to survive, but to achieve a goal. The only thing that mattered to him in this battle was that he was fighting for a cause, not whether he lived or died. He was defending his beloved people. He discovered something worth battling for. He was defending Naruto and Haku. He had spoken to Naruto once when he had sneaked out in the middle of the night, but he hardly knew him at all. An immediate bond formed, and he became Zabuza's nephew in a way. He hoped that he would continue to fight for multiple people. Kakashi struggled, his eyes spinning like a Sharingan. He would defend his team, all the innocent people killed by Gato's campaign, and freedom from the tyrannical Gato. He battled to restore Wave Country's hope. Bandit after bandit he battled, easily and quickly eliminating them. However, the weariness from using his Sharingan eye was beginning to set in, and the number of bandits remained high. Kakashi persisted. "Kakashi, what do you say about getting Gato?" Zabuza shouted over the throng of crooks. "Why not?" Kakashi asked. Both of them shouted, "Sweden. Suiria, Dan no Jutsu, Water Release. Water Dragon Blast Technique," as they flashed through the 54 hand seals. The two dragons spun through the air, creating a gaping opening in the banditry. Kakashi and Zabuza dashed through the opening, slaying any adversaries that stood in their way. When they saw Gato get frightened, they attempted to flee. His glasses fell off as he ran as fast as his chubby little legs would allow. He fled as though the Shinigami was pursuing him. Using multiple hand seals, Kakashi pulled out a scroll, bit his finger, and wiped blood on it before shouting, "Kachiyose. Doden. Suiga no Jutsu. Summoning. Earth Release. Tracking Fang Technique." 8 Ninken exploded from the earth at this point, clinging to various Gato locations. When Pakun, who was aiming for Gato's arm, missed and grabbed hold of his crotch, Kakashi started to perspire. Kakashi thought, "I hope he didn't mean to do that." Zabuza strode up to Gato's perspiring face as he screamed in agony. Before he beheaded Gato, Zabuza grinned and said, "Gato, say hello to the demons in hell for me." Thus, Zabuza, demon of the hidden mist, cut down Gato the Ruthless that day. Now that they would not be compensated, the bandits' annoyance was heightened by Gato's passing. They launched an unrelenting assault, forcing the bandits to encircle the ninjas in a protective circle. One said, "My blade will kill them." Another person said, "I say we keep those pretty females." Sakura and Hinata clenched their fists in a shudder. Hinata turned back to Naruto's gaze. He mouthed, "I'll always protect you, Hinata-chan." Hinata turned back to the bandits and nodded. They all charged at once. Kakashi kicked another bandit in the head after striking out with his kunai. He punched the man in the chest after dodging a bladed blow that would have severed his head. Before Kakashi kicked him away, he staggered back. A sickening crack sounded as he ducked a thrust to the man's heart, elbowed his arm, and punched him in the nose. He had broken that man's nose. After kicking him into 2 more bandits, Kakashi spun around to confront more. After blocking a punch and a kick, he used 2 quick punches and a kick to knock a man out cold. When Zabuza used his Zanbato, everyone was terrified of the skilled swordsman. He spun around like a dying donkey, but he was killing just as efficiently. After nearly cutting a man in half with his Zanbato, he elbowed another and kicked him away. He took out his Zanbato, twirled it around his head, and then slammed it down on a stupid bandit who dared to test his patience. Zabuza flew after driving one foot into another. As he brought down another with his Zanbato, Zabuza thought, "I could get used to this." Haku's hand protruded, his senbon piercing a man's throat and instantly killing him. He made a shallow cut across the forehead of another, then slashed his other senbon across his face. The man screamed in agony as he stabbed out, piercing an eye. Haku killed him by driving the blood deep into his heart and flicking it off. He spun around in an attempt to repel more. Sakura was beside him, putting up a fierce fight. She kept blocking and parrying blows, punching out despite the pain and bruises on her arms and fists. But she persisted in fighting for her team, to gain strength. Hinata kicked a man away after deflecting a blow to the face. When he struck another in the chest, he instantly passed away. She spun around and tapped a man's arm before striking him in the head to kill him. He also met his demise when she tripped another. A fist to the stomach greeted her as she turned around. She flew backwards and struck the pavement hard, choking out blood. 8 bandits were on her in an instant. 2 of them restrained her while the other 6 lifted their blades in preparation for the kill. She closed her eyes and waited for the pain to come. Naruto spun around after hearing Hinata grunt in agony. His ninja instincts came into play as he watched the 6 blades slowly rise. He had a plan in 0.0002 seconds and was immediately putting chakra into his feet. 2 of the 6 swordsmen were killed when he threw 2 of his remaining 3 kunai. The 2 men who were holding Hinata were then sent flying by his scissor kick. The ninjas reeled back as he twirled in midair and punched 2 of them in the face. Then he struck Hinata hard. Her oomph caused him to close his eyes. He thought, "For you, Hinata. Chan," as the blades swung down toward his exposed back. A scream of pain was heard, and blood rose through the air. When Hinata felt the blood splash across her face, she quickly wiped it off after realizing she was still alive. When she opened her eyes, she saw Naruto's face above her, his hair concealing his eyes. Hinata thought, "No, not again." When she looked up, she saw multiple blades sticking into Naruto's body, which was shielding her from danger. Darkening from the pain of the blades, she gazed up into his cerulean eyes. When Sakura, Zabuza, Haku, and Kakashi looked up from their battle, they saw the 2 men with the swords stabbed into Naruto. Sakura shouted, "Naruto," and ran to him. After Zabuza charged and chopped off the 2 men's heads, Kakashi and Haku showed up. Kakashi thought, "No, not again, not again." Sakura thought, "Naruto, no." Still in awe of Hinata, Kakashi turned to face Naruto. "Naruto, you have repeatedly shown your worth. I'm happy I chose to train you rather than Sasuke." Zabuza let out a furious roar. "Die," he hissed, his eyes blazing with rage. He spun around, killing the bandits while flashing his Zanbato. With the dexterity of light, he leapt among them, chopping off heads, bodies, and limbs. The bandits turned tail and ran away, terrified of the furious Zabuza. A sizable contingent of the town's residents, all wearing homemade armor and led by Inari brandishing a crossbow, stopped them. The bandits ran to the boat and fled. They had prevailed. Wave Country was free. With 20 heads surrounding him, Zabuza lowered his blood-streaked Zanbato. After panting, he walked slowly back to the group that had gathered. Kakashi removed the blades from Naruto's back as he choked out blood. Cradling his limp body, Hinata sobbed. He was dying, despite Sakura's best efforts to heal the wounds. Naruto's earthly glowing tan faded as his skin went pale from the blood loss, and he gazed weakly at Hinata. Hinata," he muttered. Tears filled her eyes as she gazed at him. "I won't die, Haria, believe in me even when my heart rate stops, believe in me," stated Naruto. Naruto closed his eyes and his head went limp as Hinata gave him a sorrowful nod. She sobbed as she felt his heartbeat stop. Kakashi wept, and Sakura wept more. Haku shed tears of grief as Zabuza hung his head and then raised his fist in the warrior's salute, placing it on his heart. Then he roared in defiance as he looked up at the sky while the rain started to fall. They gathered around Naruto's lifeless body, wondering why he had to pass away at such a young age. In the mindscape of Naruto, Naruto uttered, "O Kami-sake, my head." The Kyubi licked his face and said, "Kit." Naruto gripped his head and slowly stood up, saying, "Don't lick me a furball." "Took long enough, I was licking your face for what, 5 minutes? Worst 5 minutes of my life," Kyubi said with a shudder. Naruto said, face faulting, "Good to know what the hell, you licked my face." You did not," screamed Naruto, his form outlined in blue chakra. Kyubi turned his back on the boy. The Kyubi protested, No, I didn't steal your lip unity, honest to Kami, instead." Naruto calmed down and said, "Oh, all right then. I'm impressed. The way you handled yourself. You've earned all of my respect now," replied the Kyubi. "Arigato Kyubi. Sama, so I suppose I'm about to die," replied Naruto. "Haha, no, far from it. Kid, seems the great Kami up there has said that it isn't your time and place to die yet, but before you go back to the land of living, there's 2 people who want to talk to you," replied Kyubi. Angrily, Naruto questioned, "And who would that be?" 2 voices, one male and one female, said, "Us." When Naruto turned, he saw Namikaze Arashi and Namikaze Kushina approaching him. Naruto questioned, "Otusan, Okasan." After chuckling, Arashi gave him Naruto's famous smile. Naruto thought, yeah, definitely inherited that grin from him. Arashi grinned and said, "Who else, kiddo? My little boy's all grown up," Kushina exclaimed, giving Naruto a tight embrace. Knowing the warmth and love that radiated from her, Naruto sobbed in her arms. In Kushina's words, "My little baby, my little Naruto." "Okasan," Naruto muttered. After being freed from his hug, Naruto turned to face his mother. Naruto exclaimed, "You really are Uchiha?" With a gleam in her eyes, Kushina grinned at him. She was slender, had a lovely face, and long black hair. Her long eyelashes fluttered as she blinked, and she also had a very smart appearance. Warm and loving, her endless black eyes gazed back at him. She said, "Of course, silly. Did it pass on to you?" Naruto said, "Hi," and used his Sharingan. She grinned. "My little boy's already become strong with a fully matured Sharingan at that age," she said while sniffing. Arashi put an arm around Kushina and remarked, "They grow up so fast." Naruto said, "A Tucson," as they embraced. "I'm sorry for what I did, Naruto, but only you were strong enough to hold the Kyubi. I didn't think it would end out this way though," he said gently. The Kyubi looked at Arashi, Baka evilly, and said, "Peefed, I'm not that bad." With one of his 9 tails, Arashi gave the fox a high five. "Ah, still the same Kyubi, nothing changes he said. The Kyubi said, "It's good to see you too, Kushina. Your beauty never ceases to amaze me." Arashi screamed, "Don't flirt with my wife, or what? You'll seal me into another baby that you'll have in the spirit world?" replied the Kyubi. Arashi mumbled, pouting, "He's good." Arashi gazed at Naruto as he laughed. "What?" Arashi inquired, his expression irritated. With a hint of amusement, Naruto remarked, "It seems I've inherited all my facial expressions from you at Tucson." Kyubi muttered, "Thank Kami for your mother's intelligence." "Bite me, furball," Arashi uttered. Kyubi gave a snort. Kushina lamented, "Well, it seems our time is almost at the end, Naruto." "Yes, we must leave you, not before several things though," Arashi replied. Naruto gave his parents a questioning glance. "First, here catch," Arashi said, tossing Naruto a massive scroll bearing Namikaze's kanji symbol. "It will be sealed into a scroll on you when you wake up," Arashi replied. Kushina handed Naruto another enormous scroll bearing the kanji symbol for Uchiha and said, "This also belongs to you." "Arigato," Naruto said, glancing at the 2 enormous scrolls he was holding. After saying, "We'll always be watching you, Naruto," Kushina kissed his forehead and vanished. "Naruto, be strong and protect your precious people. Also tell Hyuga Heishi that Arashi says that he hasn't become a pompous stuck-up prick. And to Kakashi, tell him that he should stop being a pervert," Arashi said with a chuckle. "And, be strong, my son. Ask Sarutobi Sama for your family scroll. Everything else will be revealed," Arashi replied. Kushina reappeared with a startled expression of surprise. She exclaimed in shock, "You like a girl and you never told us." Naruto's eyes widened, then he blushed slightly as he looked at the ground. Kushina grinned and said, "Hyuga Hinata digging with his foot. Naruto reddened even more. Kushina smiled and said, "Don't worry, I'm sure you'll make a nice couple." After saying, "Time flies, we must go," Arashi approached Kushina and grasped her hand. They all said, "We're proud of you, son," and then they vanished. Arashi then reappeared. Arashi gave Kyubi a thumbs up and said, "Kyubi, look after my son." Kyubi said, "No problem, farewell Arashi-san." After saying, "And to you too, Kyubi Sama," Arashi vanished. Kyubi inquired, "Well Kit, you saw your parents. How do you feel?" Naruto exclaimed, "Happier, much happier." Kyubi uttered, "And now, return to your body." Naruto thought, "Ah crap." After wrapping Naruto in his 9 tails, Kyubi used his paw to punch him out. In the interim, at last, Sakura declared, "He's not coming back." Hinata asserted, "Naruto-kun promised us he wouldn't let me down." Following those remarks, Naruto's body started to turn yellow. His entire body was covered in yellow chakra, and they all retreated from him. They all closed their eyes when a sudden burst of light appeared. When Hinata finally opened her eyes, she saw Naruto staring back at her, albeit in a different way. Normal cheeks had replaced the whisker lines that gave him a slightly foxy appearance. Despite being slightly toned, his muscles gave his body more definition. His bangs that hung over his eyes were longer, and his hair also underwent a slight change. He resembled the Yondaime Hokage much more, but she was lost in his cerulean eyes which stared at her. "I never go back on my word, Hinata-chan, for that's my nindo," said Naruto. "Naruto-kun," squealed Hinata, running towards him and jumping in his arms. He twirled her around in the air, smiling softly. He was alive. He slowly stopped and she rested her head on his shoulder. "I thought I had lost you forever," she said softly. "I gave you my word, Hinata-chan, I won't go back on it. After all, I needed to see your beautiful face, he whispered back. Hinata blushed red and smiled. You also lost your stutter, makes you sound all the more seductive, whispered Naruto, making her turn even more red. They froze when they heard Zabuza chuckling. They looked around to see a smiling Haku, an angry but relieved Sakura, a Kakashi with a U replacing his I, and Zabuza which nodded towards them. Looks like it wasn't your time to die, kiddo, said Zabuza finally. Noah, I suppose it wasn't, said Naruto, smiling back. At Tazuna's house, 2 weeks later, Tazuna and Tsunami were worried about having Zabuza and Haku in their house, but Tsunami absolutely loved the petite feminine boy. He was such a delight to have around, and Tsunami wished she had a clone of him to stay with their family. Haku declined staying with them, saying he had other issues to sort out. Zabuza told them that he and Haku had been discussing their relationship, and that Zabuza had taken to adopting Haku to his own personal name, Momochi Haku. Haku was happy, and so was Zabuza. Naruto had offered them to come with them back to Konoha, and embrace the way of the leaf. Zabuza and Haku had readily agreed, tired of being chased by hunter nins. The bridge was completed and trade was finally restored back to Wave Country. The country would take many months to heal, but it was certainly healing. Already beggars and homeless people were disappearing off the streets, and houses were being built. Tazuna had accomplished what many thought he couldn't do. He had defeated Gato and brought peace and prosperity back to Wave Country. But all good things come to an end. Team 7+2 companions had to leave. They all stood on the almost completed bridge, a large crowd and 6 ninjas standing across from each other. Tazuna approached the group. Thank you for all you've done, he said warmly. It was our privilege, said Kakashi, smiling. You've brought a tear to my eye, the bridge is finally completed. Gato is no longer a threat and we can all live our lives once again without fear, said Tazuna. We expect a great trading partner in the future, Tazuna-san, said Naruto, smiling. You got yourself a deal, Naruto, said Tazuna, smiling. With that, Tazuna lifted up the last brick and put it in place. A large cheer erupted from the inhabitants of Wave Country. Hats were tossed into the air, fists were pumped, and there was singing and dancing. They had completed the bridge. Well, time for us to go, said Kakashi with a sad smile. They all nodded. Naruto walked up to Inari, who offered him back the kunai. Naruto smiled and shook his head, ruffling the boy's hair fondly. Use it to protect your precious people, Inari. Grow strong, and I'll see you around in the chunin exams, said Naruto. Inari smiled, tears slowly coming down his cheeks. Inari hugged Naruto, who hugged back. Naruto stepped back away from the teary Inari, nodding slightly at him. They made their farewells, and left to an outstanding ovation. What should we call the bridge? Asked one. What about the great Naruto bridge? He showed us that heroes truly exist in this world, said Tazuna. The crowd cheered and slowly one by one left. Finally, it was only Inari standing there, watching the dark blobs walk away. Naruto, you have shown us what true heroes are, and that they truly exist in this world, he said, walking away. He cursed when he tripped over a small orange book. It had a strange cover, a man chasing a woman. Icha Icha Paradisea, volume 2 inches, he said aloud. He opened it, flipping a few pages, before dropping the book in sheer shock and grabbed at his bloody nose. He looked at the orange book again, annoyed at its pervertedness. He shook his fist at it, although he could hear the book calling out his name to read it. He took it in his shaking hands, opening a page and reading it. He grabbed at his blood nose. After it had finally stopped, he grabbed the book before promptly chucked the orange book in the water. Zabuza sneezed. Something wasn't right. What is it, he thought. Never mind. Probably something evil happened that had to involve my name, thought Zabuza, smirking evilly. He reached behind his back for his precious Icha Icha book when he grasped nothing. He swore loudly, as his traveling companions looked at him with surprise. He patted all his pockets, before stripping down to only his boxers, checking every stick and pocket for his book. Where's my book? He cried out to the world, scattering wildlife in an area of 5 miles. Inari sneezed. Ugh, lousy weather these days, he thought, before going to bed. Birds were chirping joyfully as the sun shone brightly. While the town was quiet and the residents went about their daily lives, something was wrong in Konohagakure. 2 Anbu squads jumped up after a lone figure who dashed onto the rooftops and looked back. They pursued the renegade figure along the rooftop, leaping from roof to roof. Because of their experience, the Anbu gradually closed the distance and gained ground on the renegade. Seeing the Anbu team closing in on him, The renegade figure took the chance of taking another look behind him and pumped more chakra into his feet to accelerate. His blonde hair and striking cerulean eyes were his most striking features, but his face mask concealed who he was. He kept running while perspiration trickled down his face. He muttered, "Kusoa," as he kept running in the direction of the gate. When he saw another Anbu team attempting to cut him off, he leapt over the roofs and changed to the right. They were catching up with him. He was being overtaken by the ninjas wearing animal masks. His eyes were frantically searching for any indication of a trap as his ragged breaths heaved in his chest. He realized he wouldn't be able to escape on the roofs when he saw another Anbu team approaching from the front. He glanced around, made a snap decision, and leapt from a chimney, landing in the center of Konoha's plaza like a cat. All 4 streets that connected it were cut off as the 4 Anbu teams landed around him and stood motionless. Vendors watched as people around them looked and whispered. Holding her breath was Konoha. Around them, people hurried about, with many storekeepers keeping a close eye on things. Others told their kids to hide behind them, and regular ninjas kept their weapons ready to defend the populace if necessary. An Anbu with a cat face asked, "Uzumaki Naruto, what is the meaning of this treachery?" "What I have done is my business, not yours," Naruto declared, pulling out his blade. He grinned and sat down in a ready position, saying, "Come and get me if you want me." After exchanging glances, the Anbu teams charged forward, some brandishing their blades. After gritting his teeth, Naruto formed Kage Bushin's hand. Seal. He was going down with a fight if he was going down at all. Naruto's hair was blown back by a wind from the south. From the 4th Hokage's head, Naruto gazed out towards Konoha. In the distance, he could see the sun lowering, illuminating the village with a serene gleam. He observed that everyone in the village was still moving and mingling. He saw an Anbu team patrolling the area, jumping from roof to roof. In the distance, he could make out the massive walls that guarded the village and the people he loved. With a sigh, Naruto glanced at his ground and hung his head slightly. For hours, he had been thinking about this issue, with thousands of potential solutions and outcomes going through his mind. Behind him, he heard faint shuffling footsteps. The Sandaime Hokage, who also had faint crinkles in his wrinkles, indicated that he had been thinking lately, said, "You shouldn't be so hard on yourself, Naruto." Naruto cast a sidelong glance at the elderly man. "But, if they don't accept Zabuza-san at all, they'll execute them, and I will be the one responsible for his death. He helped us and the council simply don't agree because he's a missing nin. What they do not understand is that people can change, almost everyone anyway," stated Naruto. Sandaime Hokage glanced at the genin and blinked. The elderly Sandaime Hokage thought, "Naruto, you'll make a fine Hokage one day. I'll make sure the decision will be overruled and that Zabuza will join our ranks. I give my word on it," the Hokage replied. Naruto gave the Hokage a quiet smile. Naruto whispered, "I hope he's comfortable," as he turned to face Konoha. The Hokage said, "I made sure the Anbu team is treating him well." In the interim, as he watched the Anbu member joyfully flip through the Icha book, Zabuza, his wrists bound, yelled, "Give me that book, for the love of Kami," from his jail cell. Before turning back to the book, the Anbu member glanced up at him. Zabuza screamed, "No," and tore out a few strands of his hair before sobbing and losing it. In the interim, Naruto inquired, "Did you hear something?" The Sandaime Hokage shuffled around uneasily and said, "No, I'm sure it's just the wind." Naruto whispered, "Hama. Anyway, come Naruto. It's been a while since we've had ramen together. Let's catch up like old times, my treat," said the Hokage with a grin. Naruto looked for any sign of illness in his face. "Deal," exclaimed Naruto joyfully. Later that night, Naruto wore his mask over his face as he ate with the Hokage. Ayame, who was nearby, kept sneaking peeks at Naruto's face, her eyes horribly flushed with love. As he made ramen, Tucci was blushing a little and murmuring to himself about having a wife. The Hokage remarked, "Naruto, some things have come up." Naruto looked up from his ramen, eating calmly instead of slurping in an undignified manner. "You've changed as something happened when you went on that mission. I would like to know the details," the Hokage replied. "I met Tama," Naruto uttered quietly. "Met them?" the Hokage inquired. Naruto said, "I met my parents." The Hokage's gaze grew wide. "They explained everything about my past, everything," Naruto replied. The Hokage remained silent, his brows furrowed in focus. "On that mission, I befriended Zabuza and Haku. They turned into the good guys, with us. They fought beside us when Gato came with his thugs. In that battle I died. stated Naruto. The Hokage's gaze grew wide. I died saving Hinata. Chan. It was then that I met them, and they said it wasn't my time to die, stated Naruto. Wondering how this could have happened, the Hokage shifted. Naruto went on, I changed when I was resurrected. My whisker marks disappeared, my hair grew longer, my body more Hinata and I'm more of a lady's mana, concluded Naruto. At his final remark, Sandaime Hokage and Naruto both laughed. The Hokage grinned and remarked, I'm sure you will be with a face like that. After glancing at the Sandaime, Naruto nodded. I would like to know more about my family one day when you're free, replied Naruto. The Hokage stood up and held up a bundle of bills, saying, so be it, until then we have a case to fight against the council. Oh no, on the house, visit soon Hokage. Sama. You too Naruto, replied Tuchi. Arigato, was Naruto's quiet voice. After giving Tenchi and Naruto a nod, the Sandaime strode away. Naruto lifted his mask and reached for his neck. With a sigh, he drew his cloak closer to himself and moved away from the ramen stand's lights. Encircled by the 4 Anbu teams, 50 Narutos stood engaged in combat. One by one, they were being beaten down gradually. Before coming up with a concept, the real Naruto looked around. Naruto and his clones threw shuriken at the Anbu teams as they leapt from the plaza, landing on a roof with 10 of them remaining. In order to avoid the shurikens, the Anbu teams dispersed. Then Naruto turned tail and fled with his clones. 3 Narutos can be seen running down the center after several clones split apart. From the front came an Anbu team. One of the clones, branching off to intercept the ninja, came from the left. With the other clone branching off to intercept that ninja, the other one approached from the right. Headfirst into the air, Naruto and the Anbu members clashed and whipped their blades. Naruto landed on the other side, crouching with his back to his opponent. A gust of wind caused the leaves to fly through the air. Calm sakura petals blew past Naruto, causing his hair to ruffle in the wind. With his blade aimed forward and toward the ground, he straightened up. Naruto whispered, do you know why I did it, to him? That is not of my concern, rather it is the council who wants you, not us. We are just tools, nothing more, nothing less, said the member of Anbu. It may be so, but I think that we are more than tools. Rather, we are also living, breathing humans who are simply fighting for the country or village we love, started Naruto. We fight against other villagers, killing and slaughtering all in the name of Leaf, yet people may regard us as tools. To the common villager, we are the ones who must protect them. We have the responsibility to protect and serve our village. Thusa, it is from my knowledge that we are not tools, but rather a people, a protectors, stated Naruto. The member of Anbu questioned, why speak of these things? Naruto turned to the Anbu member and said, because that is why I let the missing nin Momochi Zabuza and Momochi Haku free. Now he was surrounded by the Anbu. Slowly, Naruto opened his eyes after closing them. He turned to face each Anbu, his gaze penetrating their masks and their eyes as though he were peering into their souls. Naruto gripped his blade and uttered, I know you can't let me go, but I'll be damned if you take me without a fight. According to an Anbu member, Uzumaki Naruto, if you don't resist, it would go well with the council. Naruto turned to face the Anbu member who had just finished speaking. He said, I ask you Yugoa, would it matter? The Anbu member blinked as someone who had just pierced her soul revealed the weakness of her identity. Yugo said, I guess it would. Naruto looked up at the sky and said, no, it wouldn't, and not at all. We all know the incident with the Kyubi, and you're all old enough to know that I carry it inside of me. Such is the hatred of the council members of the Kyubi, that they thus hate me. The hate torments me wherever I go. No resta, no pisa, no happiness. They will seek to kill me at the Triala, and they will accomplish it. They have the power and they will use it without hesitation. One of the birds screamed as it circled the sun's outline above the ground and then took off. Naruto looked at Yugo as he turned. Before crouching with his arm horizontally out in front of him and his blade held vertically behind his back, Naruto declared, if you take me, I'll take most of you down with me. Naruto said, well, what are you waiting for? An invitation. Naruto saw darkness as the Anbu leapt forward. Gazing at Naruto from the bars, Zabuza remarked, I don't like this at all. Naruto looked at the guard who was snoring next to him and said, they will kill you, Zabuza. Sensei. I won't let it happen. I don't care, just get Haku and leave. You wouldn't stand a chance breaking me out, replied Zabuza. A figure walked down the stairs and asked, are you sure? Zabuza's gaze expanded. A female figure was standing at the top of the stairs when Naruto turned to look. Haku! He exclaimed. I have them, Naruto, Haku declared as he descended the stairs and used a silver key to open the lock. Zabuza inquired, how did you get out, Haku? Rewind. Yes, Naruto said, glancing at the elderly ninja on guard. I'm here to take over for your watch. The old ninja said, you're kidding me, right? You? Midget boy? Short stuff? You? Yes, I am, old man. You? Small, little shrimp? The old ninja asked. Naruto muttered, yes, damn you. You? You were chosen out of all the ninjas? The elderly man inquired. The old man irritated Naruto, who thought, I could knock him out, or whack him in the private parts hard. Or elsey. Naruto angrily threw a smoke bomb filled with sleeping gas onto the ground and said, you know what? Screw you and sleep, damn you. The old ninja struck the deck as Naruto reached for his keys, and Haku, wide-eyed, unlocked the door before Naruto began to run, glanced back, and stopped when Haku remained standing. Are you coming? Haku leapt after Naruto as he asked. They ran down the stairs after snatching the keys from the guard. The flashback has ended. That cupboard should contain your possessions. Naruto said, now go, and they gathered their belongings before sprinting up the stairs and into the open. Naruto turned to face them after hearing the guard behind him yell. Go, was his quiet command. After a brief moment of hesitation, they nodded and vanished, and Naruto watched them leap over the buildings before he hung his head. He said softly, Goa, as Naruto battled the ninja to buy them time. Zabuza glanced over his shoulder. He thought, go free Naruto Abisafia arigato, as they leapt to their feet and made their way to the gate. Haku thought, I hope Naruto will be okay. It had been a long battle to bring Naruto down, and he had demonstrated why he was regarded as a genius by taking control of 4 Anbu members in order to do so. A huge crowd gathered around a wooden platform that had been erected, and Naruto stood on it with his head hanging and his hands bound behind his back. The council sat in a circle around Naruto, with the Hokage at the head of them. An elderly-looking council member said, Uzumaki Naruto, you are charged with the release of the S-ranked missing nin Momochi Zabuza and his accomplice, Haku. Are you able to share your thoughts? He inquired. Naruto's laugh, soft but audible to everyone, caused the crowd to fall silent. He looked up, his eyes full of pride and devoid of fear. Do I? Before turning to face the council members, he asked. Or do you? He asked, demonstrating his resolve. One person in the crowd whispered to another, what is the meaning of this outrage? Naruto grinned as the crowd jeered him. I can see here. Every single persona who has made my life a living hell. Started Naruto. The audience became quiet. The butcher who threw a cleaver at my head when I was 4 years old is visible to me. He chuckled as the cleaver struck my shoulder and I screamed in agony while I was searching for food, Naruto said quietly. Naruto said, I can see him, as he fixed his gaze on a chubby man. The man backed away after his eyes widened. Naruto turned to face another man and said, don't think you're so innocent either. You don't recall how badly you beat me when I was 8 years old? Naruto inquired. The smirk vanished from the figure's face as well. At my own expense, I have protected this village for 12 years. Almost no one here expressed any sympathy or sadness, Naruto remarked. The Hokage gazed at Naruto and stroked his beard while Kakashi, who was nearby, watched, wondering what would happen, his favorite book nowhere to be seen. How would you have felt about me living for 12 years? Looking at the crowd, Naruto remarked, I'm being kicked, beaten, hit, and starved almost every day. I have no place to go, no one to talk to, and I'm lonely without parents. There was silence as everyone stared at Naruto. I released them because I assured them that they would receive proper treatment. You imprisoned them and planned to try them for treason, even though they would have made valuable additions to our ninjas. They had made an effort to change, and Zabuza in particular had done so. Naruto remarked, but you gave them no chance, no hope, no freedom. The council members exchanged cold looks with one Hyuga in particular. Rewind. A council member shouted, the boy must be executed. Heishi objected, saying, quiet Ranma, he has done nothing wrong. How would you know about that? Monster? Ranma inquired. This ninja isn't skulking around devouring people, am I right? Heishi got up from his cushion and said, it's not your place to decide whether or not he is a monster. Oh, Ranma stood up to confront Heishi and remarked, you can see plainly that he is a monster. Naruto stood bleeding and bound in the center of the group, and he laughed quietly. Before turning back to the ground, Naruto remarked, if you execute me, it was worth it. After glancing at Naruto, The Hokage turned to face Ranma and Heishi. The Hokage said, "That's enough, both of you." After giving each other a fierce look, the two elders took a seat. Ranma muttered, "Your betrayal sickens me, Hyuga. In Konoha, we are the strongest clan. Remember your place, old man," Heishi shot back. The Hokage declared, "We vote on the life of this boy." The decision was made, and the council muttered. The Hokage said tragically, "As such, the decision is for Naruto to have a public trial. If found guilty, he will be executed," and began to leave the room. Slowly, Naruto raised his gaze. Naruto said, "It's not your fault." Wiping away a tear, the Hokage turned back to face Naruto. Naruto said, "If I die, I know I did it for a good cause," and then he turned back to face the ground. The flashback has ended. If you can find at least 11 people to vouch for Thesa person, then he might have a chance against the penalty of death, as agreed by the council, stated the Hokage. Several council members muttered disapproving remarks, but the Hokage's position remained unwavering. "I vouch for Uzumaki Naruto," Kakashi said in a firm voice as he made his way to the stairs. Naruto grinned as he stood up beside him and gave him a wink with his eye. "As so I," said Heishi, getting to his feet and following Naruto and Kakashi. Naruto nodded in response to Hiashi's hand resting on his shoulder. "I also attest to this." Kurenai walked up the stairs and said, "I have seen the good in this boy." She gave Kakashi a small smile, gave Naruto a hug, and proudly got to her feet. Guy ran up the stairs and performed push-ups while roaring, "I will vouch for that boy, his flames of youth will not be extinguished." While a certain green-clad, bushy-eyed ninja named Rock Lee encouraged his sensei, the majority of the crowd began to perspire at the sensei's antics. 3 council members were debating behind them before they all got up. The Shika, Sho, and Naka trio declared, "We vouch for Uzumaki Naruto." They also walked alongside the expanding group that was present. "I will personally attest to the boy," the Hokage remarked. "He should be free because I've helped him since childbirth." There was complete silence until the wrinkled old Ranma got up. The Anbu looked around, looking at each other, and then muttering to themselves. "Even with the Hokage, that is only 10 people. Thus, the boy will be put to death," smiled Ranma. Before a chant was raised, the audience immediately erupted in jeers and roars of disapproval. "Set him free! Set him free! Set him free!" With his arms raised, Ranma declared, "You have heard the rules of the council members, and without any others to vouch for him, the execution will happen." A huge sword swung through the air and struck the wood between Ranma's feet, causing the council member to scream, leap backward, and stumble. "Are our words considered?" a masked person standing atop a roof questioned. Uncomfortably, the Anbu stood back to attention after preparing to attack and looking to the Hokage for approval. The Hokage waved his hand to tell them to be at ease. Zabuza vanished and reappeared holding his sword. Zabuza praised Naruto and said, "I vouch for this boy, and if it counts a Haku as well." The audience cheered and roared in agreement after he said those words. After a week on top of the Hokage Tower, Naruto stood in his regular clothes, grinning behind his mask while the Hokage handed his papers to Zabuza and Haku. "You are now officially a ninjas of Konoha," the Hokage said, grinning, and gave them both Hittite-ites. There was a tremendous roar from the crowd below. Naruto smiled as he saw a dove circling the sun in the sky before taking off. He had succeeded. Naruto grinned and said, "I saved myself, saved Zabuza. Sensei, saved Haku, and most importantly, I gained the respect of the people." Hinata clung to Naruto and said, Naruto. Kuna thanked Kami, "You're safe." It was their first team meeting in a few weeks, and they were standing on a bridge. Naruto grinned and gazed up at the sky as a lone white dove flew before dropping a small flower, saying, "Hinata. Chana, I'm glad to be back." Kakashi and Sakura grinned beside them, and Naruto pulled away, watching the branch fly toward them. He lifted his hand, caught the delicate white blossom, and tucked it behind Hinata's ear while glancing at her. Naruto remarked, "It feels good to be back. Enough, we need to catch up on a lot of things right now." Kakashi flicked a page of his book and said, "I hope you're all set for rigorous training." The 3 genins exchanged a smile and ran off the bridge, leaping in celebration as they went. Kakashi walked behind them, grinning and giving the peace sign, and they were once again a team that worked together. They say that nothing lasts forever in this world and the next, but based on everything I've learned and scoured the outer rims of this planet, I've come to the conclusion that there are things that last forever. People say that nothing can be immortal, but what I've witnessed in 2 ninjas warms my heart to the core. Love is an emotion that can last forever, and if the bond is so strong that they would fight and die for each other just to make their partner happy as soulmates, then the idea that nothing lasts forever. Hokage's Sandaime, the stars shine so brightly, so many that they cannot be counted, but if she asked me to try to count them, I would do it. I would focus and count until I was exhausted or until I had done so. I would have expended all of my chakra trying to count them, but it is never impossible, and if she asked me for just one thing, I would be happy to give it to her. My one, my only. Naruto Uzumaki. Love is a choice, slow to anger, slow to hate, slow to curse, slow to hesitate, fast to smile, fast to laugh, and fast to make even the worst day seem worthwhile when you see their smile, their laugh, their voice. Love is an emotion that cannot be described in one word or two. It is an unconditional emotion that even makes the bottom of your heart feel warm when the person you love smiles. Iruka Amino. He has given me the greatest gift anyone could ask for. Love. I gave him my heart, and he gave it to me. Love is the ultimate gift of sacrifice and love. It allows us to be together no matter what happens in our lives, so whether it be war, peace, illness, poverty, or even death, until the very end. Hinata Hyuga. With their eyes locked, Naruto stood facing Hinata. There was a spooky silence, but then, slowly, Naruto leaned forward to close the gap, and Hinata noticed, closing her eyes and leaning forward as well. Their lips moved closer and closer until they were almost touching. As he gasped and clutched at his ribs where Kakashi had kicked him, Hinata screamed and flew past him as Zabuza slammed his elbow into her body. As she did, Naruto extended his hand, which she clasped, and he swung in a 360-degree motion, flinging her back towards Kakashi and Zabuza at torpedo speed. Hinata thrust her hands forward, aiming for their chest, and they blocked them, swiping them upwards. As they attempted to drive their fists into her again, Naruto leapt behind her, spinning as he threw kunai, and they jumped backwards, skidding to a stop to avoid the kunai. Every day, their teamwork gets better, Kakashi thought. Zabuza thought, they're getting better. Watch out or they'll kick our asses. As Naruto threw a kunai over her head at their senseis, Hinata charged, running low, and Kakashi and Zabuza blocked them with their own blades. In a fierce taijutsu battle, Hinata and Kakashi engaged, while Naruto drove over to Zabuza, where his katana clashed with Zabuza's blade. Sakura and Haku engaged in a fierce battle off in the distance. When Hinata swung her hand, Kakashi blocked it, kicked at her shoulder, grabbed his ankle, twirled him around, and threw him to the ground. Kakashi landed on the ground, flicking out his leg to trip Hinata, and then moved forward, pulling back as a katana passed his head and thudded into a nearby tree. Naruto charged at him from Zabuza, who was lying on the ground, clutching his privates. Naruto charged forward, twirling a kunai as they clashed. As Naruto flipped backwards, avoiding Kakashi's fist, Hinata flipped up and moved forward. As Naruto landed, Hinata ran forward, her foot hitting Naruto's hands as he boosted her into the air. As she continued to fly through the air, he came down. Kakashi prepared himself, but when he opened his eyes, he was flat on his back with Naruto and Hinata standing around him. Zabuza moaned in Kakashi's side. Kakashi and Zabuza watched as Naruto and Hinata stood and spoke softly. They're improving it as if they know what each other is going to do, said Kakashi. They do improvise on the fly, in fact. That's probably due to the bond between those two, Zabuza said, caressing his chin. As they discussed areas for improvement, Sakura and Haku stood together and laughed when Haku made an inside joke. Additionally, Sakura and Naruto have come to accept one another's presence. This team seems to be coming together as a cohesive unit, Zabuza muttered. Kakashi replied, "Ah yes, I've noticed that." He uttered the words, "training dismissed," and vanished. There is a green hill deep within the hidden village of the leaves, the village of Konoha. It has been forgotten since the conflict between the leaf and the stone, and no one is left to remember its grandeur, but it still exists today like a forgotten artifact from long ago. It was a solitary grave on a green hill far away, the sky blue but deathly quiet, and there was not a single animal or bird in the background of the woods. The wind blew the grass stalks around wildly, the soft rustle of their movement, and the trees rustled softly, a perfect serenade for a grave. The grave had just been dug, with a gray round tombstone in its wake. A figure dressed in black stood over it, looking down at it, and then slowly bending over and placing a bunch of various colored flowers at the grave before backing away. As the wind whistled its melody and blew the figure's black cloak around, the figure stood there for hours while the clouds seemed to fly overhead in the speed of time. The flowers soon took flight and were carried away by the wind, but the figure remained there. He reached into his pocket and took out another batch of flowers and placed them at the grave. Once more, As the flowers took flight, the figure kept placing flowers on the grave. At last, as the 10th bunch of flowers rose above the previous night sky, the scene changed from a peaceful afternoon to a darkened night with no stars and a covered moon, but the figure remained motionless, staring at the spot where the deceased's name should have been, but the tombstone was blank. A crimson cloak hung around his shoulders, flowing off to the side with the constant southern breeze, and a single cerulean eye, as deep as the endless oceans, was visible as the black clad figure turned around and gazed out at the horizon. His other eye was covered by a Hittite. The figure blinked as it muttered 3 distinct words while turning to face the grave and the tombstone. "Who am I? Who am I? Who am I?" With his head aimed at the sky and his arms spread wide, he screamed those 3 words across the horizon as though pleading for a miracle. The figure whispered, "Who am I?" once more before turning around and revealing Uzumaki Naruto's face. Naruto awoke, sweating profusely. He thought, what kind of dream was that? As he looked at the clock, which read, 2 o'clock. As he flopped on the floor, Naruto rolled out of bed and yawned. He complained, sank slowly to his knees, and then stood up. He shuffled around the room, making his way to a window facing west, and looked out of it. It was completely dark above the rooftops, but there was a full moon shining brightly, and he saw several black blurs that could only be Anbu patrolling the village rooftops. Naruto turned on the light and blinked angrily at the new source of punishment. He mumbled, "Damn light," as he yawned deeply once more and rubbed the dark bags under his eyes. He approached the refrigerator and opened it to find nothing inside. He muttered, "Kuso," and settled down on an old couch. The words, "Who am I?" swept past into his mind once more, and Naruto shook them off, massaging his aching temples. He saw that Kakashi and Zabuza would gladly give them another painful training day, with glee on their faces as they gave their team hard workouts, but ultimately they all knew it was for their own good, to improve and become better shinobis. Naruto scowled at the thought, wondering what kind of sadistic exercise Zabuza would force them to perform. He was not going to sleep any longer. Kakashi scowled as Naruto charged, his kunai slamming into his. They held, pushing each other away with their strength. Naruto retreated, then spun his kunai and struck Kakashi's weapon once more. Using his superior strength, Kakashi raised Naruto's kunai with his own and kicked him back. Naruto flew through the air, backflipping and landing on the ground like a cat. Kakashi's swift attack with the kunai left him with little time to recover, and he dodged his precise stabs and slashes, parrying when he could. As he continued to pedal, he ducked under a swipe at his head, frowning. With a quick glance around him, Naruto thought, "Kuso, I'm on the back foot. I need to stall him so I can go on the offensive again." Then he saw Naruto with a kunai, slashing downwards, and his eyes snapped up, jumping backwards to avoid the kunai thrown at him, then flipped forward to avoid the kunai thrown from behind him. Kakashi immediately picked up the quick glance, drew forward, and slashed his student's abdomen. Suddenly, a poof was heard, and a log took its place. Then he heard a kunai, and he jumped forward to avoid the one that was thrown at him from behind. Then he dodged all of the projectiles, throwing a kunai at the only one that was approaching him from an angle, and then he saw Naruto with a kunai, slashing downwards. More shuriken and kunai were flung at him from the trees, and Kakashi threw his kunai at Naruto as he flew through the air, drawing another kunai in an instant and parrying the kunai and shuriken. Kakashi grunted as his hand touched Naruto's outstretched arm and he drove his fist into Naruto's face, sending him flying towards the ground. Then Kakashi moved, pumping chakra into his legs and charging at Naruto, who stood side by side in a taijutsu stance before charging as well, meeting Kakashi in the middle of the clearing. Kakashi's foot drove into Naruto's abdomen as Kakashi's fist was blocked by Kakashi's hand. Kakashi then swiped at Naruto's face, and Naruto ducked, bobbed up, and kicked Kakashi in the leg, sweeping it to trip him while his fist went towards his face. He then fell as Naruto tripped him, and as he fell, he planted a hand onto the ground, pushing himself off, and skidded slowly backwards to a complete stop. After giving Kakashi a disinterested glance, Naruto sealed his hands together and inhaled deeply. Naruto mumbled, "Kaden. Ga Kakia, no jutsu," as he exhaled a huge ball of fire. When he rolled to the left to avoid the fireball, he was confronted by 3 kunai. He drew 3 kunai and threw them, deflecting the other 3 in midair. As he landed and got to his feet, he ducked under Naruto's slash, attempting to kick him in the abdomen, but Naruto blocked it, twisting his foot and sending him to the ground. Naruto then drove his kunai at Kakashi's face, but Kakashi rolled and the kunai missed, sweeping his foot and tripping him onto the ground. After flipping himself up and avoiding a punch to the face from Kakashi, Naruto backpedaled, blocking and avoiding Kakashi's onslaught. Then, Kakashi spotted an opening and went for it, but Naruto left it open, grabbing Kakashi's wrist and throwing him over his head, whereupon he landed and then rolled sideways to avoid a thrown Fuma shuriken. The enormous shuriken moved in an arc before returning to Kakashi, who dodged it again as Naruto caught it. Enough, was Kakashi's statement, and he looked proud. Panting and dabbing at his perspiration, Naruto took a step back. Hinata, it's your turn, Naruto, you are so good at making the most of your weapons. Hinata was seated next to Naruto, who was perched on the fourth Hokage's head. Naruto muttered, so Kakashi nominated us for the chunin exams. Hi, do you believe we have enough strength? Hinata inquired. Naruto looked at Hinata and said, yes, especially you, Hinata-chan. Hinata turned red as she flushed. Naruto helped Hinata up and said, come on then, I want to show you something before there's no sunlight left. A picnic basket with a mat beneath a huge sakura tree caught Hinata's attention as they stood gazing at the beholding sight in front of them. A waterfall tucked away deep within the Konoha forests. A hidden gem to see. The water was a deep blue that shone with radiance, and it was crystal clear. You like it? Nervously, Naruto asked. Anyo. Like it? I adore it. Hinata hugged Naruto and said that. Scratching his head, Naruto laughed and said, haha, I'm glad Udoa made me nervous for a second. Hinata gave an eye roll. Should we? Naruto extended his hand and asked. Oh yes indeed, Hinata said, laughing as she took his hand. They were standing outside Hinata's house gate because it was nighttime and, fortunately, the moon was full. They were a radiant couple with their misty breaths flying through the night, and a slight breeze ruffled their hair and clothes, making them feel numb despite their clothing. Naruto smiled and said, I hope you had a good time, Hinata-chan. Hinata answered, I did, it was truly wonderful. Great, Naruto uttered. Hinata chuckled softly. With their eyes locked, Naruto stood facing Hinata. There was a spooky silence, but then, slowly, Naruto leaned forward to close the gap, and Hinata noticed, closing her eyes and leaning forward as well. Their lips moved closer and closer until they were almost touching. They quickly withdrew after being startled by a crackle in the darkness. Naruto sighed, knowing that the moment had been ruined but sensing nothing, then leaned forward to kiss a startled Hinata on the cheek. 10 minutes later, a guard emerged to look for Hinata, who was standing there, stunned and motionless, with a gentle smile on her face despite her face being bright pink. Naruto then whispered goodbye and vanished into the night. Naruto fixed his gaze on his katana. I would love to use Ida, but Zabuza's style doesn't suit the way I use the blade, he grumbled. Zabuza's style is appropriate for blades of a different size, not that it's bad. At that moment, Konoha heard a slap. A pervert. Naruto's eyes widened after he blinked. Zabuza, Naruto muttered. Knowing that an angry Kunichi's slap took a long time to heal, Naruto moved slowly in the general direction of the slap and discovered Zabuza with a faint flush on his face, or perhaps it was a slap mark. Naruto wasn't entirely sure. Would you be willing to assist me in creating a katana style, Zabuza? Sensei? As he approached Zabuza, Naruto inquired. The shinobi turned to face Naruto again. No. Why not? Zabuza remarked, I have better things to do with my time. Oh, with the new, limited edition Icha tactics in hand, Naruto declared, I'm sure I could make it worth your while. Where did you get that? Zabuza whimpered. It was Naruto who said, I have my connections. They were standing at Training Ground 15, where Naruto was holding Zabuza's enormous blade. Gazing at Naruto, Zabuza remarked, we know that if you can wield my blade effectively and smoothly, then you can master any sword. Zabuza watched in awe of Naruto's strength, realizing that most shinobi would need to build up their muscles in order to use Zabuza's blade. He had attempted to teach a certain apprentice, but to no avail. Naruto began swinging the blade around, faster and faster, faking slashes and stabs, and incorporating jumps, spins, feints, and backpedals to his movement. Sure, it was massive, but it was heavier than he had anticipated. Now that you have the hang of a heavier blade, your blade will seem like nothing, stated Zabuza. Naruto nodded before grabbing his sword and thrusting, parrying, and stabbing an unseen foe in the manner of Zabuza. I believe I might be able to assist you with your style, Naruto. You'll use speed and agility to deal damage, but it will be ostentatious, Zabuza remarked. Flashy. What do you mean? Naruto inquired. Zabuza simply smiled at him, sending shivers down his spine. The training lived up to its reputation. Zabuza was a sadist, which made Naruto anxious. They had begun with 400 clones, and after they had essentially mastered the new style, Zabuza grabbed his blade and swung at Naruto for an hour, using the rules of Naruto using his style to defend and parry. After a number of cuts and gashes, Naruto discovered that Zabuza had been lenient toward Kakashi, either because he had Konoha's gym to train in. Zabuza gave him a proud look as Naruto lay on the ground, exhausted and mentally overloaded from using so many shadow clones to develop his style. "You did well, kiddo, can't believe I'm such a good sensei," said the man. "You can join Iruka sensei in teaching little kids then," Naruto replied. Zabuza chuckled. "Not for me, kiddo, not for me." Naruto handed Zabuza the Icha Icha tactics book after taking it out. As Naruto put it, "My part of the deal, while it was sufficient to see how eager and hard you worked, I welcome it with open arms," Zabuza said, reaching for the book and flipping it open. Zabuza read the first page of the book before closing his eyes and grinning in sheer joy as a dazzling light from heaven suddenly fell upon it. Naruto just stared in awe at this demonstration of unadulterated holiness. As the light shined on Zabuza, Naruto muttered, "How can that book be holy, with all that perverted crap in it?" and turned to leave. While twirling his chopsticks and eating his ramen absently, Naruto sat at his favorite ramen stand. "Why isn't my favorite customer eating, Naruto?" Ichiraku inquired. Naruto looked up at him and blinked. Naruto apologized, saying, "I was thinking about something." "Is there anything you need to tell me?" Ichiraku inquired. Naruto closed his eyes and grinned at him. Naruto responded, "No, it's something I need to sort out myself." He put the bill on the counter, thanked Ichiraku and Ayame with a nod, and turned to leave. "The boy is acting strangely, he didn't even finish his ramen," Ichiraku muttered. As they conversed, Sakura and Naruto were strolling. "Are you anxious for the chunin tests?" Naruto inquired. "A bit. I mean, I've been training hard and all, but I'm not sure whether I'm strong enough," Sakura replied. Naruto chuckled. Naruto grinned and said, "Of course you're strong enough, Sakura, it'll be fine." As they passed an eye, hold rock, Sakura nodded. Murmuring, Naruto slapped his head and said, "Konohamaru, rocks don't have eye holes." As anticipated from my opponent, Konohamaru said, pointing directly at Naruto while he and his two friends were out. "Who's that girl with the large forehead, boss?" Konohamaru inquired. An immediate increase in Naruto's desire to kill a certain kunoichi was felt. "Era. Konohamaru," Naruto said. Konohamaru's eyes widened at the development of someone with pink hair and he said, "And what is with the pink hair so unnatural?" "One more spite." "Konohamaru," Naruto uttered, glancing anxiously at Sakura. "However, her forehead is enormous. It's so large that it's frightening me," Konohamaru said. "Konohamaru," was Naruto's cry. "Yes, boss?" Konohamaru inquired. "Run!" Naruto screamed. When Konohamaru's gaze turned to Sakura, his eyes widened in fear, and he fled, Sakura following closely behind. Before he ran into a figure, Konohamaru was frantically trying to escape. The ninja lifted him up and muttered, "Hey, what do you think you're doing, brat?" Naruto appeared around the corner, gazing at the boy with the makeup and Tsunahite. Naruto commanded, "Put him down." The boy with something strapped to his back sneered, and the girl with the blonde hair gave him a blank stare. "And, pretty boy, what are your plans?" the male Suna ninja inquired. The Suna ninja backed away, spitting a tooth and blood from his mouth as Naruto's fist suddenly collided with his. Pulling the wrapped item from his back, he muttered, "You're going to pay for that." After giving him a long look, Naruto whispered to Konohamaru that everything was fine, and Konohamaru nodded. "The way I see it, it's 3 vs 2, with that guy up in the trees," replied Naruto. A red-haired boy landed on the ground in front of the Suna ninjas as their eyes widened. "Who are you?" he inquired. The reply from Naruto was, "Uzumaki Naruto." As he turned to face the other 2 Suna ninjas, he said, "I will enjoy killing you," and turned to leave. Naruto answered, "Not if I kill you first, Gaara." When a total stranger mentioned his name, Gaara's eyes widened. "How are you aware of my identity?" he inquired. Naruto sadly said, "Because you like me," and turned to leave. Gaara gazed at the trio as they made their way back, then turned to leave. As Kakashi distributed the exam forms, Team 7 stood on the bridge. "Fill these out, and after training I'll head to the Hokage Tower to put your names in," replied Kakashi. They completed the forms rather quickly, and Kakashi examined each one after Naruto winked at Hinata, causing her to flush. There are 4 phases in the chunin exams. There will be a written test in the first place, a practical in which you must retrieve 2 scrolls from the Forest of Death in the second, a verse.by verse match in the third, which will take place almost immediately after the second, and a fourth that is identical to the third except that you will be on public display. Have any inquiries? Kakashi inquired. Kakashi. Sensei, everything in the exams is legal? Naruto inquired. Kakashi remarked, hi, everything will be legal. Ninjas were congregating on what appeared to be the 3rd floor the following day. Naruto gazed at the door, which was clearly adorned with a genjutsu, and there were a number of older men on guard. Sakura and Hinata also noticed it, and one of the older ninjas was making fun of Hinata's cousin's team. Neji was glaring at them with Tenten before the older ninja shoved Lee, who staggered back and then went forward again, only to be slapped and fall with a cry. Neji immediately moved, his hand going to the ninja's heart, and Naruto grabbed it. What in the world are you doing? Neji inquired. Naruto retorted, now isn't the best time to draw attention to yourself. They pushed past the older men into the room, where many ninjas were talking quietly. Naruto saw that the older Hyuga gave Hinata a cold glare, and Hinata simply looked down, knowing that Naruto would speak to her later. The rookie 9 gathered around them, and they exchanged greetings. Naruto looked around the room, spotting Gaara and the Suna ninjas, along with a few others who appeared dangerous. A leaf ninja approached them. The ninja said, you should not draw attention to yourselves. The rookie 9 gave him a look. I'm Kabuto, and I myself am on my 5th try here, and it would be wise not to draw attention to yourself if you don't want to be killed, he stated. Many eyes widened, and the rookie 9 was filled with whispers of 5 tries. When I first started, you all made me think of myself so much, but I've been gathering data on ninjas taking the chunin exams, Kabuto said, presenting them with a card. By placing only my chakra in the card, I am able to reveal all the information I've gathered on a particular shinobi, he said. He showed one that featured Uchiha Sasuke, for instance. Uchiha Sasuke, 4C ranked missions, 25D ranked missions, Aburame Shino and Inazuka Kiba as teammates, and Yuhi Kurenai as sensei. Possesses the Sharingan and is proficient in ninjutsu, taijutsu, and genjutsu resistance. Kabuto stated, estimated level at chunin. At this, Sasuke grinned. As you can see, it reveals information that I have gathered from individual ninjas, replied Kabuto. That's fantastic, Choji remarked. Naruto said, I'd like to see Gaara. When Kabuto took a card out of his deck, Gaara's details showed up. There are 12D rank, 15C rank, 3B rank, and 1A rank missions in Gaara. Tamari and Kankuro are teammates, and Baki is the sensei. It claims that he has never been hurt before, which is incredible. Since I haven't seen him in action before, I haven't calculated an estimated rank yet, Kabuto said. Never been injured before ya, Naruto muttered as he considered. Do you want to see anyone else? Kabuto inquired. According to Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, they gazed as the image of Naruto appeared. 6C ranked missions, 25D ranked missions, and Uzumaki Naruto. Haruno Sakura and Hyuga Hinata are teammates, and Kakashi is the sensei. Naruto.san, you are incredibly strong. High taijutsu and ninjutsu proficiency, low genjutsu proficiency, and exceptional chakra capacity. Has a katana, but it's unclear what style it is. Level estimate. Low. Medium Junin, Kabuto said. Everyone gaped at Naruto's card. Sasuke's smirk was erased. Naruto laughed nervously and scratched the back of his head, and Hinata blushed at the strength of the man she loved. In an attempt to defend his actual abilities, Naruto muttered, you obviously overestimate me, Kabuto.san. Kabuto gave him a look. He turned back after answering, no, I think the information is perfectly accurate. Naruto thought, there's a problem with that guy. Fortunately, he is unaware that I possess the Sharingan. How about that man? Kiba pointed to a ninja with a sound Hitte Dotite and asked. Back in the room, 3 genin from Hidden Sound Village were observing the leaf genin as they muttered to themselves. Naruto glanced at them and noticed that they appeared different. A girl with long black hair wearing a yellow sleeveless shirt, gray camouflage pants and a scarf, black shinobi sandals, and armbands. A strange-looking shinobi, completely hunched over, with his arms covered by a long gray jacket with sleeves. He had spiky black hair, but Naruto was not particularly interested in him. Naruto thought, they all seem to have an alternate agenda. Should we? Observing Kiba's finger pointing at them just a moment before, the boy with the spiky hair asked. Kabuto turned to face the sound ninjas as they sprang up and walked toward them. The heavily bandaged one swung his arm, missing Kabuto by a mile, but Kabuto began to shake violently and vomit, and his glasses broke. We use sound waves to eliminate our adversaries. The bandaged man muttered, "Leave us alone if you don't want to die," and turned to leave. The Leaf Genin's eyes widened as they gazed in. "What the hell?" Naruto muttered. "Are you okay?" As they assisted Kabuto in standing up, Naruto inquired. Kabuto shook his head and muttered, "Yeah, I'm fine." A huge cloud of smoke suddenly erupted in the front of the room, and as it dissipated, a big man emerged in front of a group of chunin. He was dressed in a dark gray trench coat, black gloves, and black boots, and he was wearing gray slacks, a gray button-up shirt, and a headband with a bandana tied on his head. What stood out most, though, was the numerous scars on his face, which were evidence that he had been tortured and had survived it. "Greetings and welcome to the chunin exams. I will be serving as the proctor for the initial exam phase. You can refer to me as Morino Ibiki. Have you got any questions yet?" After a spooky silence, a somber atmosphere descended upon the room. "All right, let's start the initial examination. Everyone line up here at the desk and turn in your application cards that your sensei gave you," the big man said. "We'll then give you one of these seating assignment cards." After getting their numbers, all of the chunin hopefuls went to their designated seats. Naruto sat down in his spot, frowning, but to his delight, Hinata took a seat beside him. He winked at her and looked down. "As I go over the guidelines, don't turn in your papers until I say to. First rule. You all begin with 10 points. The test consists of 10 questions, each of which is worth 1 point. You will forfeit one of these points for each incorrect response. Yes, if you make a mistake, you lose points." Ibiki uttered those words while grinning savagely. "Additionally, be aware that your teammates will fail in addition to you if you lose your 10 points. If someone is foolish enough to not comprehend, you also fail if one of your teammates is caught or fails the test. Have you got any questions yet?" Silence once more. "Lastly, cheating is strictly prohibited. You lose a point if our examiners find you engaging in any questionable or dubious behavior. Therefore, you are out and your teammates lose if you are caught cheating 10 times. Have any inquiries?" Silence once more. "At that moment, you have an hour to finish the 9 questions. I'll ask you the final question at the end of this hour. Start." Naruto looked at the question as he opened his test. No regular genin could finish these, but I can, Naruto thought as he headed to work, grinning. At his side, Hinata read the writing of ninjas who appeared to know what they were doing using Byakugan. Number 51, a chunin said. After swearing, a mist shinobi got up and walked away, his teammates following him. A chunin said, "Leave, number 24 in your corresponding numbers." A leaf shinobi and their group departed this time. A chunin said, "Numbers 44 in your team, you're gone. Number 11, 62 and 105, you fail at trying to look at each other's papers. Get out of here." Another number was called. "You're done, number 125, another chunin said. The room that had been packed was beginning to empty. Naruto winked at Hinata, knowing that she and Sakura knew what to do. After that, he resumed working on the questions. Despite his intelligence, Naruto struggled with these questions and took his time answering them. He had seen chakra spikes here and there as people cheated in different ways around the room. Number 65 inches. When Naruto realized that Sakura was number 64, his eyes widened and he let out a sigh of relief. He glanced at the clock and saw that it was almost time to go. He glanced up at Ibiki, who was giving him a strange look. He thought, "There's something about that boy that I can't focus on." Ibiki looked around the room and saw that while many of them were gone, not all of them were. He heard the frantic scribble of pencils on paper as they attempted to finish the exam in the allotted time, and he looked at the clock, which indicated that there were 2 minutes left. Ibiki got up at precisely 1 hour. "Pencils down," he yelled. Dropping their pencils and shutting their booklets, genins leapt from their seats. "Congratulations on making it this far, now it is time for the final question. However, there is a rule to this question," Ibiki replied. "You may choose to answer this question, and should you answer it incorrectly you will fail. If you choose not to, your teammates and you will fail. However, there is a catch. Should you choose to take the question and answer it incorrectly, you will never be able to take the chunin exams again," Ibiki said. The impact was immediate. A chill crept into the room, sending shivers down nearly every genin's back. As the chilly wind blew through an open window, giving everyone goosebumps, a chunin swore. the window and the chunin fought. The genins were going crazy from the heavy atmosphere. Ibiki smirked as whispers began to break out among the genin. I love my job, he reminded himself. Okay, that's enough time to think about it. Now, those who do not want to take the question, raise your hands now, Ibiki replied. The impact was immediate. A number of genin hands erupted. In one instance, a shinobi squad's 3 members all raised their hands in terror. The room was still empty. Hinata was looking down with sadness and depression when Naruto turned to face her. Naruto cleared his mind and closed his eyes. Then he turned to Hinata, who was terrified. My father will leave me and I will become a servant if I continue to be a genin. That is not what I want to occur. She clenched her hands together and thought, and Naruto-kun, if he can't take the chunin exams, he will never be able to become Hokage. Hinata then started to raise her hand shakily. Sakura's eyes widened as they immediately picked it up. Then Hinata turned to face Naruto, who addressed her with his eyes. Then she looked at him and lowered her hand. She could feel Naruto looking directly into her soul as he spoke to her through his eyes. After blinking, she nodded and lowered her hand fully. Then, with a victorious grin, Naruto turned to face Sakura, who was holding up her hand. Subsequently, Naruto's hand soared upward before colliding with the table. I don't give a crap whether I'm banned from the chunin exams or not, however I will still become Hokage, he said. The room suddenly became lighter, and all of the anxiety vanished. When Sakura saw that a chunin was going to call her number, her eyes widened and she swiftly lowered her hand. With a sigh of relief, she wiped away the perspiration that had accumulated on her due to the circumstances. Naruto-kun, Hinata thought, I wish I had your courage and strength. Because of that Uzumaki kid, there are still 78 candidates left, and no one else is going. But I respect his willpower, Ibiki remarked. The proctor laughed loudly, which was very odd for such a big man. The genins around them stared in confusion, and then Ibiki stopped laughing and turned to face them. To those of you who are still here, congratulations. You just finished the chunin exams first section, Ibiki shouted. Wait a what? Hiba inquired. Ibiki said, that's right, you all pass. But what about the 10th query? Choji inquired. The question was simply on whether you had the guts and willpower to continue to go on, Ibiki said. So it was a waste of all that mental energy. How bothersome, Shikamaru muttered. The inquiries weren't bothersome or time consuming. The purpose of those questions was to assess your espionage and information gathering skills as well as your ability to decipher the test's hidden message, according to Ibiki. Eavesdropping? Konkuro inquired. Yes. Do you remember the initial rules? That your teammates will also fail if you do. We can intimidate you by using that as fear, which forces you to work under pressure and makes the test more difficult to finish. Furthermore, Ibiki stated that the questions were designed in such a way that cheating was required in order to pass because no normal person could figure them out. So this was a complete test on whether you were able to gather and analyze information, or spy and copy, which would be able to be applied in a real-life situation in terms of infiltration and code cracking, Neji responded. It's absolutely right. Ibiki remarked, we sneaked in 2 chunins that you can imitate. 2 chunins smiled and held up their hands at this. Of course, anyone who cheated in an obvious way, failed mostly due to the pressure that was put upon them, as well as the fear of failure, Ibiki stated. Genins gasped when he saw the many wounds and scars visible on the top of Ibiki's head, and he paused as he untied his bandana. Sometimes it can be costly to be irresponsible and to be caught in the act of espionage by hostile forces. It can sometimes leave you permanently scarred. Few people, though, could withstand the torture I endured, Ibiki remarked. After tying the bandana back and giving the class a nod, Ibiki looked out the window, which the chunin was still attempting to close, and saw a shinobi kick the chunin across the room before a banner appeared behind her, Mitarashi Anko standing there. Your second examiner has shown up for today. I'm Mitarashi Anko, and I'll be proctoring your exam's second section, she said. Naruto gazed at the woman wearing very little clothing. She's an examiner, he asked himself.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.